Welcome to the Galen Trombley Show. You can find me on Facebook at Galen Trombley, on Instagram at Galen Trombley, and on YouTube at Galen Trombley. Spelling GaelenTrombley. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Galen Trombley Show. Okay, now we're live. We're good. All right, podcast 157, Galen Trombley Show. Guest today, friend of the show, has been here multiple times, Mr. Alec Odnoha. First-time guest, Mr. Nick Dodd. Will soon be here. Rumor has it. Rob Knowles. So basically, everybody's on. We got a big tournament coming up a week from Saturday for the Kids Charity Golf Classic Year 3. Leading up to it, I will have a few podcasts with some potential. I say potential. All players, not potential players, are actually on the squad. Talking about leading up to the tournament, expectations, what we're expecting. Some of these guys have played before. Some are rookies. And just trash talking Matt, Craig, and Ryan Lee's team the whole time. So it's gonna be fun. Alec played last year.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me, Galen. Appreciate it.
And he came
Pleasure
with a hat.
as always. Pleasure as always.
You were 3-0 last year.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I was not 3-0 last year. I was 1-2. Nick, new addition this year.
Very first time, yeah.
You were pumped?
I'm pumped. First Ryder Cup style event that I've ever been a part of. So.
Yeah, and you're on the good squad, so you're on our team, which is
course,
great.
yeah.
This was the old board, so we can reminisce, even though we, I guess, lost this one, but that's okay. That was a long time ago. That was a year ago. But
Jeez, we're losing our Stitt in the penultimate. He's
so
he's enemies.
So
I'm excited. You and I are slated to play. I'm excited. That's when I plan on spitting the most. Spitting the most trash talk for sure.
I played with Jeff Stitt last week, and Jeff crumbled. It's nothing. I mean, we're not gonna sugarcoat it. He didn't play well. I took his money. We bet. I won some cash.
Love that.
Ryan was on the other squad too, so I won some cash from Ryan. So I'm feeling really good. It was like a prep it before the big match. So I feel good. I feel good about our chances. I like our team. The squad set. I think the matches are good. What's your biggest, Nick? You're new. What's your biggest expectation this year?
I don't know. I mean, I hope we win a lot of matches. I think our team has a lot of low handicappers compared to the other team. I could be wrong about that. So, I mean,
on paper, straight up, we're the better team. Handicaps, though, it's anybody's ball.
Anything could happen. Yeah. Well, now with Steve Bumpard out and Brady Channel subbing
in. Breaking news.
That's a low handicapper
pickup.
Gone and a high handicapper who could potentially go pretty low for us.
So we just
Brady's got that.
So I think Brady was a good pickup.
He was a great pickup.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So the difference. So the only thing is, and Rob's not here. I've actually never really. I think you golfed with Rob that one time.
Oh yeah.
I just said hi to him. I don't think I've actually formally met Rob, so I'm looking forward to it. But I was the only thing we switched. So we put in Brady into all the matches where Steve was playing. The only thing we did was I switched me and Brady in the singles. So I was Rob knows Brady, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I was supposed to play Rob.
Yep.
Steve was supposed to play Ryan. Brady's now in, so I'm now playing Ryan. Brady is now playing Rob. So that's the only difference. So I was supposed to play Rob, but Brady, which I hope is
That's
good.
a good switch,
Okay.
I think.
I think so.
That's good.
So whatever the case, I partly
That's
just
good.
because they know each other, and I wanted Brady to play with somebody that he knew a little bit.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to that, but that was the switch up. That's the only switch up we made. I talked to Ryan. It was agreed upon by both sides, so that was the only change we made with the late change up. But other than that, I think it's good. So
New venue this year. We were at
North
the Barracks
Country
last year.
Golf Course, yeah.
Did you guys play there at all?
I
High
played
school?
in North Country in high school. Yeah,
Yeah.
a couple times.
Do you play a lot now, or is it like sporadic?
I played there a good amount.
Spotty for me. I've only played there this year. I played in the chamber event there.
That was it.
That was it. Yeah.
Did you play this year there?
Yeah, I've played there like probably 10 times this year because I played in the member guest up there with a buddy of mine from Champlain. And then, probably like 7 other times. So
you played quite a bit.
Yeah.
What's your feelings on that course? Because you guys mostly play bluff.
I know. I think the par 3s are easier and the par 4s. Overall, I think it's an easier course. I like faster greens at North Country. I don't know, Alec, how do you feel?
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I think that's what it comes down to anywhere, and Bluff's definitely slower than there, if you ask me.
Yep.
I think the par threes are definitely not as intimidating. I mean, for example, 13 at Bluff's not a fun one. Now, I'm not trying to make direct comparisons either, but like I definitely think the par threes are more gettable. I think the par fours are not as difficult. It's a bit more open, and I think if you hit good enough shots, the par fives are gettable as well. You can put up a good number there. If you put the ball in the right spots, I think you can put up a good number there. Although if the wind's whipping, that always sucks too.
Yeah, so usually North Country, that's where I grew up playing, so I played a bunch. I've only played, I think, 3 times this year. Like, we've been trying to go up, like, early on, like, a weekend and play. And okay rounds, not, like, great. Like, the other day I shot terrible. But it's what I remember, the wind is always worse up there. There's always wind relative to any place that you play. Bluff gets wind a little bit off the lake, but North Country is consistently can pick up wind. The course is harder. Like, the greens are harder to hold at North Country. Mm-hmm. Big greens, but like you can get the ball, especially in the front. So the way the course is set up, like that kind of creek that runs through the middle of the course.
Yep.
Like, you get to number 2, you cross it, you go to 3. It's like, a little small dip, but everything, I guess, everything west of that towards the clubhouse was the original 9. So if you look at it, they're all made about the same way. All the greens are elevated, and the thing with North Country is most of the greens are elevated up, where a lot of greens are fairly flat. So you have a lot of times where you can hit the green, it's going to roll off the back, and now you're chipping up and down on a hill. Even though the greens aren't severely sloped, they're fast.
I think a good example of that is 10, if I'm thinking of one.
Yeah. 10.
That's brutal. That's a brutal green, especially if it's a front pin.
Yeah. Number 12's tough. That's the toughest par 3. The par 3 is
just because of the green, you're saying? Because I mean, like, if you look at I think offhand 3 and 6.
Third hole is long, but it's flat. It's flat.
There's nothing. There's no bunkers. There's nothing. No. It's just long. That one's, if you can hit a long iron or like a hybrid or something, you should be around the green, and then it's trying to get up and down on a very big flat green. It's not a hard hole. In theory, it's not a hard hole, but people, obviously, you're saying, hey, hit a club 210 yards straight, and that's pretty much the only thing. So, number 6, it has the bunker on the right with a little, number 6 is okay. I deem it's a pretty easy hole. It's a mid iron, low to mid iron.
No, yeah, it's the bunker, front right?
Front right.
Just to the right.
And there's a creek, but like you gotta like mishit it hitting the creek. Yeah. Like the bunker's in play if you're short and don't hit it well. If it's a front pin and you kind of like try to like really go aggressive at it, and you might hit it a little bit or flare it off right, you could be in trouble. 14 is super easy. There's a couple bunkers, but super easy. And then number 12, though, has a bunker on the right, but it's got a really narrow, deep green.
Yep.
Where you can't hold the green. I mean, we talked about that, the Chamber tournament. I smashed a club, I think it was an 8-iron, landed just past the pin, and rolled all the way back off. And I hit that high. And then I don't know if you hit the green after me, but you hit it higher than I do on the irons. But it's a tough green to hit.
It is a tough green to hit, absolutely.
And then you're chipping, and it's narrow, especially if it's a front pin. It's like you got a bunker right, the green's elevated, it's quick. I think I got to check for the handicaps, like what holes are handicapped holes, because that's one of the ones you get strokes on. I think it's like the 4th hardest hole in the course is 12.
Yeah, I think 12. When we did the member guest there, I know 2 was a handicap hole.
2 is number 1, the hardest. Yeah.
And then I want to say 8 and 9 on the front too. Because the kid I played with got strokes on like 2, 8, and 9 like every match we were in.
So
basically.
Number 8 is the 3rd hardest hole. Number 13 is the 2nd hardest hole, which is the dogleg left par 5. And then number 14, I believe, is the 4th hardest hole. So those are the ones who I was doing the scorecard. Almost everybody's getting strokes on those, whatever match. One of the, I think you're part of this match. There's one match. I forgot who you're playing with. I know you're playing, I think, against Wade, and it might be Russell. You guys are playing straight up. There's one match that's actually straight up. There's no handicap. Like, the handicap's taken into consideration, but the way that it's structured is the half of the sum is how you do alternate shot, and both sides add up to the same amount. They're not the same handicaps, but their actual numbers are the same. So nobody's actually getting a stroke on that. So that's a legit straight up. There's nobody's.
That's
giving
cool
holes.
how that worked out.
I love that.
I think it's you versus. I forgot who your partner is, but I think it's you versus Wade and Russell. Does that sound right? Did you have a match against Russell and Wade?
I know Alec.
I know I play Russell. I play Russell twice because we play Rob and Russell in the first
Yes.
match, and then I play Russell in the singles, I believe.
And I play Wade in the singles.
So it's
So
not
it
the
could-
same. It's alternate shot. I'm pretty sure it's you in the alternate shot.
I don't know who I'm with in that. I forgot.
Because I know I'm with you in we're the second 9, you and I.
We're alternate shot against
That's
Jeff
alternate
and
shot
Ryan.
against Jeff and Ryan. Yeah.
Which I'm pumped for.
Yeah.
So that one, so the alternate shot, the problem with the alternate shot is because the way that the handicaps are taken, you don't typically get a lot of strokes in alternate shot because it's half of the total of the sum. I know it's like crazy math, whatever. So when you do 4-ball, the way it works is like if the 4 of us all played, the best handicap, which I think was you, we take you play as a scratch. Everybody else's handicap is 90% of the difference.
Yeah, based on mine. Yeah.
Based on yours. So the handicap for me, I think you were a 5 when the number you gave me, and I was a 15.
Yeah.
Like I would get 9 strokes off of you because I get 90% of 10.
Gotcha.
So, and you just kind of keep doing the math. So singles is straight up. So like you and I would be, you'd give me 10 strokes on the 10 hardest holes. And because we're playing 9 holes, you would get, it could be, I mean, it typically goes back and forth, but it's not like you get 5 shots per side. It's the 10 hardest holes. So hypothetically, 6 of the hardest holes could be on the back 9, and you get 6 strokes, not 4.
Okay.
So I just did it based on whatever the handicap was. So I believe most courses do jump back and forth, though. So it'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4 would be on each side. So typically when you go through, almost everybody was getting about half.
Well, if we're as kind of a segue into course handicaps, as far as bluffs rating, there are certainly some that I don't agree with. There's no way that I don't know the card off the top of my head, excuse me, but like there's no way that you have a card over there. It's like it's like 13 is supposed to be easier than what, like or no, 12 is supposed to be easier than 1. Or 13's easier than
13 should be the number 1 rated
handicap
absolutely.
hole
at Bluff Point, and I think
4.
it's 3 or 4.
I think the number. Do you know the number? The number 1 hardest hole at Bluffs is that 17.
The hardest hole at Bluff?
Yeah. Is it rated is 17? I think. No, I don't know. Off the top, I honestly don't know.
I think the 3rd hole is the number 1.
Yeah, you're right. No, it's 3. It's
3.
Yeah,
it is 3. Okay.
I don't have a bluff card on. I don't have a bluff card on me.
I'm in my car.
So this is North Country. First hole is 9. Second hole is 1. Third hole is 11. Fourth hole is 17. Fifth hole is 15. So, I mean, nobody's getting strokes on those.
No.
6 is 13. Because 17, 4, 5, and 6 are the 3 easiest holes in the front. 7 is 7. 8 is number 3. And 9 is number 5. So, a lot of people are getting strokes on 9. And a lot of people are getting, obviously, 2 and 8 are giving a lot of strokes.
Yeah.
So, when you look at these, as of right now, we're slated to play the front 9 twice. So, you're slated to play the front 9 for the foursomes, for the 4-ball and the singles. The back 9 is for the foursomes, which is alternate shot. Possibility we can switch to the back 9 and finish the singles on the back 9, which is what I selfishly want. We just got to see like what the course is that day.
Well, now let me ask you this too, because I don't know if we ran into it last year. We may have, but in the event of extra holes, what would you want to do about that?
There's no extra holes.
What if you wouldn't want to do it if it came down to it? It's just straight up.
No, Ryder Cup. If you tie, goes to the defending champion. So
Does it really?
Yeah. So if we tie, it's going to go to Craig Lee.
Oh, that can't happen.
So like last year when we did this match, we had.
Well, it came down to it. There was like
we had 16 matches.
Was it you? You had talked about it was you and someone else had talked. I want to say Adam, maybe you and Scarf, like almost went back out there to finish something.
Yeah. So last year we ended up there's 16 total matches. This year there's 24 because we have more people. So we actually have a full
Which is all right. Yeah,
we have 12
sick.
and 12, so it's awesome.
Sick.
So that year, our team had to win 8 out of 16. So if it was 8-8, we would have won. We ended up losing 8.5 to 7.5 because it was a half point. We lost by a half point because had we tied 8-8, we would have won.
Yeah.
So in theory, we lost by a point. The reason we would have went out last year is because when we got down to it, there was a few of us on the back end, and I forgot which matches they were, that they weren't completed. So we got rained out like the last, probably 3 holes last year. Me and Scarf were on number 7. So we didn't play 7, 8, or 9. It started to there's lightning. So we just I'm like, screw this. I'm not playing. There's lightning. We're out.
Yes, that's right.
It was like a kind of a quick passing storm. But by the time we got back and kind of had to wait for it to pass.
Do you want to go back out there?
It was probably 30 to 45 minutes before we would have been safe to go back out. And some people it was late, long day. And we're just like, okay, we'll just call it there where we finished. And we ended up losing. Not to say I would have come back and beat Adam. But there was 3 matches, I think, that were out there. And there was 1 or 2 of us that could have really made the difference had they went out and played. So, if I would have come back and I think won, 1 or 2 of the final 3 holes, I could have either won the match or have the match, one of the 2, which would have been enough for us to win.
Right.
So
if you had halved it, that would have been
enough to win still.
So there's an asterisk on their defending champion title.
No, we gave it to. I mean, it's
No,
it's always one we're kind of.
You know what? No, I'd say so.
It never.
We're out for blood. That's what. It's straight up.
It never actually finished, but it was so we kind of just were listen, we'll just fun day. We'll just call it
Right.
And we were basically 3 holes from being finished. So hopefully the weather cooperates. Because I'd like to see the whole thing come down to the last few matches. Last year was great because it was competitive. Every time we finished, it was always tied. So I think it was 2-2, 4-4, and then we went out for the singles.
Matches were coming in and they were alternating as far as who was winning.
Yeah, it wasn't far off.
No.
I think the problem is when we look at this, you, Stitt, Burns all won at the end. It was the first 5 matches. I lost 2 and 1. But he was up 2 with 3 to play.
Yeah.
And then a few of these ones a few of these were already done, and then a couple of these matches could have went either way on some of them. So it was kind of fun how it got really close.
I can't wait to see the scoreboard this year. If there's going to be one.
Yeah.
I'm sure there will be.
We're working on that.
Oh,
yes.
it's going to be so cool.
Yeah. No, it's cool. It's bigger. Obviously, it's got more matches and kind of the same style. But so Nick, unfortunately or fortunately, you're giving up strokes every hole. I don't think you play anybody that is giving you strokes.
Oh, I don't. I did not expect that at all.
You're getting giving strokes, but I don't know. You guys can look at this. The back 9, most of them fall in the same hole. Because you got to have the same. At the end of the day, it's you're always playing the same hard holes. So number 2, every match somebody's getting a stroke in number 2. There's one match, I forgot who it was. I want to say it's Bryce Hansen. I think is giving Dave Coyer 2 strokes every hole for match play.
Bryce came in at a 4, I think.
He was a 4.
That's how I went with singles last year with me and Joel.
Yes.
I don't think Joel got 2
so
though.
Joel, Dave's a 40, Bryce is a 4.
Oh, yeah.
So it's 36, and when you take and it's straight up, so it's 36. So Bryce would be playing a full match, giving him 2 strokes every single hole, even on the easiest hole in the course. So we're actually playing the singles. So when I fill out the scorecards, so this is so Alec played last year, but if you get the scorecard, it'd have your name, and it would have whoever you're playing, or 2 people and 2 people. If you have a yellow box in there, that means we deduct a stroke off of that. If you have a yellow box with a black outlined with a black box, basically a yellow box is filled in with a highlighter.
Yep.
Sharpie
outline
would be 2 strokes. So Dave is yellow, 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 black, 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 all the way across. Most people when you get down to it, if you're playing the first few matches, you might only see 2 or 3 boxes throughout the whole thing. You know what I mean? So you might just look at them okay, I'm giving strokes on 2 and 3 and 8, and that, or not 2 and 3, 2, 8, and 9, and that's it. And the rest of them are straight up.
Yep.
So when you look at it, the only difference is, and I gotta say this the day of, don't put your net score, put your gross score.
Yep.
So you're always putting your gross, and then by the yellow, we just know okay, 5, but they're getting a 4, net 4 beats their net, straight up. So
easy to keep it that way.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Now let me ask you this: what part of your game do you feel the most confident in going in, and what part are you trying to work on the most? If you had to boil it down,
that's a great question for everyone to answer. I think
I certainly got.
You know what's crazy? I would say my driving right now not just driving, but like getting off the tee right now, for me, on the year is the best it's ever been. My irons are awful, and my putting is awful. Like, I would deem if I had to go driving, irons, pitching, or putting, I would go driver, followed by or off the tee, followed by like chipping, followed by putting, followed by irons. And I would put wedges in the iron category. My wedge game is pathetic right now.
I mean,
okay, so
I'll say this: in the times we've played, like on Wednesday mornings, yeah, I think you've driven the ball great. I think you've driven the ball really well. I think I can attest to everything you just said, and I think I can somewhat say the same thing about my own game. Like if I'm driving the ball well, everything else will typically go okay. Mm-hmm. But that's the biggest thing for me is if I'm not driving the ball well.
I'd agree. Your irons are good.
They're spotty. They're spotty.
When your irons and wedges are on, like there's sometimes I've seen you just throw darts all day long, and I'm like, dude, there was one time we played. I think you hit every green through like 7 or something. There was one time we played, and you hit every single green. You drove and hit every green all the way through, and I don't know what you shot, but it was like somewhere in the 30s. But then it like kind of went away a little bit in the back nine. It was early in the year. It might have been like June.
I believe it. It's honestly that I think that's the thing. Like it's a lot harder than people think to put 2 good nines together.
Oh, it's one of the hardest things in golf.
And I've seen Nick do that the same thing. I've seen him put. I mean, we've both done it. Have like a great 9 and then a terrible 9, or a terrible 9 and then a great 9. I've seen Nick throw together 2 fantastic 9s. Like it's hard. It's definitely tough to do.
So you think
I try to simplify it though. I try to not look at it as like, oh, I want to shoot this. I've told you this. As if I think of it like, oh, I want to hit 10 greens today. I think if you can think of it and simplify your thinking as far as giving yourself just a simple goal and thinking your game's going to do the rest from there, I think that's a good way to look at it. It's kind of helped me out anyway.
So I've been tracking like Golf Logic. So I play it like with the distance, and then it tracks my score. So like each score I pump
yeah.
in. Did you
no,
hit the green?
I know the app you're using for sure.
So I'll look at my driving, and I'll hit like, I would say 60% of my drives are in the fairway or just out. Like I didn't get the fairway, but it's like very like 1 or 2 yards off the fairway. So I'll have that. So I typically have a look into the green, and I'll hit like 2 to 4 greens in regulation. So my problem right now, I wish there was a stat where it was like how many open looks you have at a green. Meaning you're in the fairway, and I'd say open looks, not like you scrub something and have a 220-yard like hybrid you have to now make up and try to hit the green. But I'm talking like you hit a good drive, you're in the fairway, you got a pitching wedge, a gap wedge, sand wedge, even an 8-iron in your hand with a straight look to the green. How many of those did you hit or not hit? Versus like, hey, I got a green regulation, but I hooked one out of like the left rough. Like how many open looks do you get in a round? My percentage of that
how many you convert on
would be terrible. The amount of times I have a wedge in my hand and I hit it short, I pull it, I slice it, and I'm like, I got a wedge in my hand. This should be on the green every single time.
Yep.
Well, where I definitely struggle right now is my putting's just atrocious. I've been using the Scotty camera that I have like all gear, and I have another putter that's a bit heavier, and I just put that back in the bag like
the Peretti.
A week ago. The Peretti, yes, and the weight difference sucks. It's like getting used to it, but I mean, I just can't seem to. I'll leave birdie putts 10 feet short. I mean, like
it's a heavy putter. Just feels.
No, I think it's just my overall stroke. I was doing the same thing with the Scotty. That's why I switched it in the first place. I got to figure something out. It's just I think it's I'm just making tentative like choppy strokes, and I'm not committing to it, and it's not going well.
Do you think it's a mental thing, putting, or physical?
I think it's more mental than people.
I mean,
give credit
everything's mental, but I'm saying like, what do you think percentage wise of that?
Like 60-40 Rob Knowles.
There he is.
Welcome. There he is.
Welcome to formally meet you.
How's it going?
This is good. Pop the headphones on. Your mic's already hot. You're good.
I would say, like 60-40. 60-40 to 70-30. We're talking about like how much mental putting is versus physical. If you had to give it a proportion.
I don't know. I think you have to, it all depends on the putt, doesn't it?
Depends
if it's a 3-footer, if it's a 10-footer.
Because if it's
What's
a
on the
3-footer,
line?
it's all mental.
Right.
no,
What's
that's
on the
true
line?
for sure.
Yeah.
So you think it's more mental?
I mean,
I think there's some physical to it, but I think people like the yips, people like mentally overthink
That's
it.
what I have right now.
Yeah.
For sure. Choppy, tentative, terrible strokes.
Do any of you guys practice putting?
Before a round, or if
Yeah.
I have extra time, I'm at the course or whatever. But
It's always a
Yeah.
thing
It's
nobody
quick.
practices.
It's
Yeah.
quick.
Before a
It's
round,
not-
but I was prior to this year. I think this year I've been better, but I was like notorious for being late for tee times. Like they can both attest to it. I'm known for that. This year I've been okay, and so I never would really like have time. But like I'll go up and I'll throw down a couple balls, hit like 5-10 putts, and then go.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, which is pretty bad. I have like a little putting mat that I've used before, but nothing like crazy.
So Nick, what's your what's going well right now? A lot of your game's going well, but like what's the one that really sticks out that you're like, this is it?
I still think he's a great
think,
putter.
I think my irons, like my mid irons, like anything, like wedges, and then like 9, 8, 7 iron right now has been the biggest difference between last year and this year. I got new irons, fitted irons this year for me, so that has helped. But my 4, 5, and 6 irons the last couple weeks have been awful. So if I have any of those types of shots as of late,
What's your average? Like, how many greens you hitting around?
I probably 11 or 12, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe a little more, but
When I used to play,
I'd say at least like at least 2/3.
yeah.
when I was playing a lot, I tried to get 10 to 12. Like back in the day,
Yeah.
when I was good, not now. Like now
No,
it's 2 to 4. So Robbie, welcome. Robbie, you're actually on the bad team, so that's okay.
That's okay.
You're actually wearing the colors too. So
I've been in worse places in my life, so I'm sure that I'm sure being on the opposing team of you, it could be much worse, right?
yeah. So Rob, what are you most like? Part of your game? Which part of your game right now? It's good.
Believe it or not, it's the short game. 2 years ago, that would have probably never been the answer.
Absolutely not.
But I would say if you get me to, or if I get myself to a 9 iron or lower, that's probably, the strong point of my game at this point. I've scaled back the tee game a little bit. I've left the driver in the bag a lot more, and just kind of played with either, like a hybrid or a 4 iron off the tee, and just kind of put, make sure I'm in good position. And of course it depends on where you play, right? And if you're playing, some courses locally, like Bluff Point doesn't have blue tees, right? So you're kind of stuck to where you play there. But, if you have to play a little bit longer yardage, then, I'll pull the driver off the tee, but, just a different approach, practice the short game a lot more. And a lot of it, truthfully is the putter. I've totally changed my practice approach with the putter. So, you asked the question a few minutes ago. I have spent time where I've just gone to, the practice green and hit putts for 30 minutes to 40 minutes, and not hit like 15 footers, just trying to make random putts. Start with 3 footers, make 5 of them. If you don't make 5 in a row, start over, and then, progressively move back 3 feet at a time, until you make 5 in a row consecutively. So, little things like that, but short game to answer the question.
Yeah. That's now in a match play. You guys play high school. You played match, right?
No.
No,
The
stroke
stroke play?
play in
Stroke
high
play.
school. Yeah.
I didn't play golf in high school. I played
he
baseball.
played baseball.
Baseball. That's
Yeah.
good. I respect that. Same. But the okay. So have you guys played match play tournaments? Match plays at all?
Other than for
Besides
the kids,
just
no.
playing goofing
Other than
off?
playing last year, no.
Really?
No.
The member guest at North Country this summer that I played in was match.
Was Matt okay?
Yeah.
Rob?
I haven't played in a competitive organized event. I would say match play. The group that I play golf with, we've done various match play formats and things like that, but never in an organized event. I'm sure Nick and I have played plenty of match play style one-on-one events, but
Absolutely. Yeah.
but the most that was probably on the line was like $2 or a soda at the turn.
Yeah, Sody Pop.
Okay. Alec played last year, but are you guys excited for match play, or would you rather play stroke play, or how would that?
I don't know. I think that, it all depends on your opponent. It depends on how much you can intimidate your opponent. I think there's different strategies and there's different, tactics to match play and stroke play. I think sometimes match play, I think can sometimes favor the higher handicap. And my thinking on that is those that are higher handicaps tend to have, and not everybody, this isn't true for everybody, but I would say the trend would be those that are higher handicaps tend to have 1 or 2 really, really bad holes where they might have a 9 or a 10, where somebody that, is a lower number, their bad hole might be a bogey, but those players that have those 9s and 10s, for their handicap to be where it is, they also make pars, they also make bogeys, so if they're getting a stroke or 2 on a hole, sometimes you're forced to make birdie to win the hole, which, in the Ryder Cup, usually you need to make birdie to win a hole. But, I think, it all depends on the opponent and the style. But I like the concept of match play because, with match play, it allows you to be more aggressive. It allows you to approach each hole differently, each shot differently, where if it's stroke play, it's very easy to get conservative knowing that, if I put it in the drink here, I'm going to cost myself one, where, in match play, you might just be forced to go after something.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing last year is we had some high handicappers, because you got to think handicap too. If you're, say, a 30-something handicap, well, in a round of golf, you could burn a quad on a hole in the blink of an eye, where if you make, like Nick, a good golfer, makes a bogey, and some guy just did a quad, Nick wasted a stroke. That guy wasted 3 of his handicap, but he only got 1 point.
Right.
You know what I mean? So for you, like the margin of error is so small where they're getting a lot of strokes back because of their stroke average, where really all they need is 1 of those strokes for a match play. So they could win a match by having, 3 burnt like strokes that were like wasted. You know what I mean?
I mean, like Rob said, for the high handicappers, they could have those blow up holes and still only lose 1 point versus being like 3 or 4 strokes behind their opponent in stroke play.
Correct.
So the next hole is like a fresh start for them. They could get that point back. They just need a good hole par, force us to make birdie, or bogey, force us to make a par.
I think that's one of the coolest things about match play.
Yeah.
When you work that into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like Rob just said, like you can be way more aggressive because you're gonna like, hey, I'm gonna like screw it, I'm down, I gotta take a hard shot and carry this like type like over the water, do something, or pull a driver out where you'd rather take an iron off the tee just to play a little risk reward. But the idea is that you could get the point back then, or you could just like dig yourself a bigger bigger hole. But it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you can just you'd be hacking away, just pick up the. We had matches last year that ended in the fairway, or not matches, but like holes.
Sure.
Like you're all of a sudden in the fairway and the person's hitting 5 and someone's on the green. And like, here, just pick it up, go to the next hole. You can concede from the fairway and just keep moving. So
Sure.
And the good thing about the tournament is you don't have to play all 9 holes. Like some matches were done on the 6th, 7th, 8th hole last year, and you just like walk it in. So it really just kind of depends on when you're done, and then so it kind of it moves fast because you're never actually playing. You can play 9, but not many matches got to 9 last year. I'd say most of them were done by about 7, 8.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good guess.
Yeah.
You said walk it in. We're going to have carts, right? We can drive it in?
Yeah, you can drive it in. You can drive it in. Yeah.
If it's walking, advantage Nick.
The first year we played, we walked it.
Did you?
Yeah, so it was just me and Matt. And I remember Matt wanted to take a cart, and we wanted caddies. So
you guys had caddies, right?
So
Meg was your caddy?
Meg was my... Actually, I got a photo up there. She's like in a Augusta National jumpsuit.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so she did that, and Forrest was Matt Craig's caddy. And originally, like, we were gonna walk it, and then Matt's like, no, we're gonna ride. I'm like, well, dude, people were actually carrying our bags, dude. We could walk. So we ended up walking, and luckily for Meg, I only had 3 clubs because I was playing Matt that year. It was 3 clubs versus full bag. There was no handicap. That was just the
handicap.
The handicap was the 3 clubs, and so she basically had this like literally 4-pound bag that she was carrying the whole time. Matt had his full club, so Forrest I think was carrying Matt's clubs or pushing them or doing something, but. Some people were actually putting money on the match to make Matt walk, like so he could not take a cart. Like I will donate, but he's got to walk it because
I like that
because he was trying to take a cart. So, but yes, we will have carts. So you're always gonna be paired. You're always gonna be riding with somebody on your team,
right?
So, so you always like even in the singles, you're still like, are you guys playing together in the singles?
I'm not sure. I just know that I'm playing against Wade. That's all I know.
Yeah, I don't know like who you're, but like you say you guys are riding in the same cart, but you have 2 individual matches.
Yeah.
So you're-
maybe
within
I'm not
your
sure.
foursome.
Within your
Yeah.
So
foursome.
you're playing, you're riding with your partner within your foursome within the individual match.
But that partner has no bearing on your match.
Right,
They're
right.
just for logistic purposes during the match. We're not playing each other anymore. That was the only.
No?
Yeah, that was the only shift up. You're playing a newcomer to the tournament, Brady Channel.
Oh, I know him.
There you go.
Does he need to be like? Do I have to work on some intimidation or something like that?
Brady just threw up his best round ever today.
So his handicap's going to go
Yesterday.
down.
Well, his handicap's staying the same, but
18.
he's 18.
Well, we'll have to play really well then.
Okay. What's your handicap?
Somewhere in the neighborhood of 6. Honestly, Nick looks at my handicap more than I do, so
So
he
do
could
I.
probably
I
tell
check.
you.
I check this. I checked again every day.
I haven't, now that school started back up, I haven't really been able to play. I had, the 2-month window in the summertime where I could play, 5 days a week, but
I think I have you down as a 7.
sounds right. I was
Okay.
6.8.
It was whatever you gave us. I rounded up.
adjusted
So whatever. If you had an index that was point something, I just 5.5 or above, I rounded up.
Gotcha.
So, or down, depending. So actually, okay. So Alec, last year, give us your recap of what you thought last year. What you're most excited about this year?
Oh, I thought the banter for sure. There was more banter last year than I thought there would be, and I definitely didn't think people would take. Towards the end, some people got burnt out, but in the beginning, I didn't think it was going to go as serious as people took it, and I thought it was great. Like the more serious people and the more that people got into it, I thought that was great, and I think the camaraderie too. Just everyone that was really into it, met a lot of great people on both sides. So I think just having more people and just the potential that the tournament has, kind of just showing that it's growing. I think that's the coolest thing that I'm looking forward to.
Well, you were the first person there last year.
Oh yeah, I was excited.
You're pumped. Like I showed up.
He was there on time?
He was.
If
You
you
were the
could
first
believe it,
one.
yeah.
Last year?
Wow.
Yeah, if you can
That's a
believe it.
miracle.
No kidding.
Actually,
I agree with them.
I
100%.
showed up-
I shouldn't have been.
Did
there
you
on
tell
time.
him the start was 10 o'clock when it was really 11?
That's what you have to do.
So, this is what happened. We got there, around 6? No, 7.
No, it was
Quarter
like
of 6?
It was like 6, like before 6. Like
Whatever the time
Well,
was.
no, because
I think I was.
We'll say it was 6 o'clock.
I think I was the first one there, but you rolled in. I think second. You were the first player. Like I got there to work on it. I think Meg rolled in about the same time. You were the first person not like running anything to show up, and you were there early before anybody. And all of a sudden, people started because Barracks never opened the gate, so we're like all of a sudden we had like 20 people like chilling out on the side of the road.
Ugh.
But we so we ended up going, and so you were the first person there, very early, very pumped up to play, and I was nervous last year because we went from 2 people the year before to last year we opened it up to 16 people. So we went from 1v1 to now okay, now we're running a tournament with a lot of people, and then put more focus last year on the golf aspect because I wanted to make sure it was actually a legit tournament, because the worst thing you could do is all these guys show up and then the tournament's not well run, it's just the scoring's all disorganized. Right. I was like, nope, if we're gonna post a tournament, it's gonna be done very everybody's gonna be able to follow what's going on. It's we have a scoreboard. If people don't know the scoring, they're gonna quickly find out the scoring. All the scorecards are all marked up. You couldn't, you knew exactly where you're getting strokes or not getting strokes and who was getting what. But the part that you mentioned, the competitive aspect, was what I was hoping we were going to get. Because if people just showed up and didn't care, it takes the wind out of the sails of having a fun match. I think everybody was in it very quickly. As soon as they started playing, and
I would
okay,
agree.
you're one down, you're like, oh wait, I'm losing to somebody? Because you never play really head to head. When you're playing stroke, you're just playing.
Right.
You might say, oh, I beat the guys I'm playing with, but I never tee up and be I got to beat these guys in the round today.
Right.
Because you're kind of just playing your own game.
No, there's an added edge for sure.
Yeah, because then you're like, wait, I'm teeing it up against who? So I got to beat this guy. And then it's match play's great because it's good, he's in the trees. All right, so I got it. I can play this shot versus, you start doing that. You don't want to be a dick about it, but you're yeah.
You can talk smack for sure.
You talk smack, you can
do it.
Yeah, T-ball, in the woods, in the trees, something like that. Maybe you're going to pull something just to be safe, Well,
at that point,
maybe
yeah.
you've got a 2-shot lead and, your opponent's in the trees. All right, I'll just hit 6-iron. I'll be in the middle and...
Well, the holes too, you're getting strokes on. So it's
right.
Okay, I'm getting strokes in this hole. Maybe I can just play for a bogey or a par, knowing the other guy's got to pull a good shot if he's giving me a stroke. There's a couple holes at North Country. Number 2 is the hardest handicap. Most people, if you play off number 2, are hitting a long
Number
iron or
2, I
hybrid
think,
off
is
of it.
tricky. I mean, that crevice is in a spot where I think, either if you hit a good shot, at least for me, if I hit a good 3-wood or 3 hybrid, it could potentially get there. Or if a driver, if I hit it good enough, it could go over it. But that's a common area where the ball would end up for me anyway. So I think it's kind of a tricky one.
Like last time I played there, I hit a 5-iron. Like you just hit a 5-iron out, and you have like a 7-iron, 8-iron in.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can hit like a long iron, mid iron, and be around.
Well, that's
the
been
green.
your play lately. I mean, would you take off 8 the other day? You took a
5-iron.
Yeah, you took a 5-iron off 8. Made par
Have
though.
any of you guys hit iron off number 8?
Sure, Rob has.
Oh yeah.
I definitely
Bluff?
have not.
Rob
done
can
that.
drive the ball.
Where
340
bluff
yards.
or bluff point? Yes, into the wind. If my driver is a little bit wayward, I'll hit iron. Just because it's a 3-shot hole anyway at that point. If there's no wind, you know,
There's
or
enough
if
room to
winds
miss, I
or
think.
if wind's at our back, then I'll go. But into the wind, sometimes into the wind. If you hit it's a bad word. Hit a slice. It can really be emphasized into the wind, and then you're in trouble. So
How many times do you like number 8? So we're going bluff. How many times at bluff do you go for the green in 2? If you were playing,
I want to say I've been maybe 5 times this year. Only a handful I've been over. I've probably gone for it 10 times this year in 2.
it's about a 50-50%.
I've lost yardage. It probably, and I would say the first 4 times I went for it this year in 2, I was short every time. Maybe the first 5 times. I think
short of the water or the green.
No, short, not
Like in
getting
the water?
there, not getting over.
Yeah.
Yep. Hit a shot fat, or a couple times. I thought I got a shot good, and it just didn't travel. But I would say infrequently now. If you would have asked me this question last year, I'd say I probably would be going for it into 65% of the time.
In
So-
years prior to that, probably 80%.
So you're always like within probably like 240, 230, 240, 220.
Well, I won't go for it unless I'm 210, or I would say 210.
So you can get down to about 200.
yeah,
on that.
just because of how those couple of trees have overgrown, really.
Yeah.
It's a tough shot in.
It is from
It's very tough.
from further away, and then of course the closer you get to it, kind of narrows up too with your layup shot. So you have to kind of be, you don't want to miss right with your layup shot. But yeah, I would say like my go zone is 210 and in. If I'm outside of 210, I've really got to be playing confident with my higher irons. So
what's like 210 in? You're probably what, 5-iron? Could you get 6-iron there?
Well, okay. I'm gonna just interrupt real quick. A story about Rob. Before Rob harnessed his power, I remember playing with him at Bluff. He had Cobra irons at the time. I think you have
bafflers, XL bafflers.
Yeah, you had.
Yep.
He's probably 200.
I just found the receipt for that the other day.
He was probably 210. He probably had 210 in on 18. He was on the top of the hill with his drive. Dude put an 8-iron over the green on the fly on 18. That's a 210-yard 8-iron. That's just not that's
Got your
downright
got your hands in
obscene.
front of the ball on that one.
So
I really pressed my
I was
hands.
gonna
So-
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen Rob hit. He can hit the ball a mile, and Nick and I have both seen it.
I think the 8th hole. Plays a little bit shorter because it's downhill there. So I always play it about a club shorter. But if I have 210 now, I'm probably considering 6-iron, but I'd probably hit 7-iron. So like I've kind of scaled back my.
Different kind of game.
Scaled back.
Well, I have.
Quote,
I mean,
unquote.
Alec gave you the example. I mean, I used to just, take a club and totally de-loft it.
Yeah.
And, turn an 8
Smash
into
it
a
out there.
6. But it's a little bit easier to play when you play with the right loft of your club.
Well, I think especially something I've factored in the last couple of years, like it's just the distance, like idea of like number 8. How often do you go for it?
Not very often. I have to be within 200 usually on my drive to try to go for it.
Sure, about 210, 220.
I'd say about 210, 215, 210, somewhere in there. If I have a good lie out of the rough, I'll go for it too.
Yeah.
But
Depends how my
Depends.
round's going as well. I mean, if I'm
not swinging well, I won't.
even par or 1 over or 2 over at that point, and I'm 210 out or 200 out, I'm laying up every time. But if like I need to do something miraculous to save a good 9, then I'll try to go.
Again,
for it.
there's the concept of match play versus stroke play,
Exactly.
where match play, if you need to go, you're not hesitating.
No,
Stroke
you're
play.
just ripping
Oh,
it.
absolutely, yeah.
Make a good swing.
But like on number 8, the way I've played it is that the best round I've played this year is 5-iron out, which puts me right about the top of the hill, to like a 9-iron, maybe an 8-iron down to like a wedge. Because I never go for it in 2. Like even if I smash a drive perfect, at best I'm probably down to like 215 at best. So then it's like even at that point I'm taking like a hybrid and trying to fly it over, which small like then you got to hit a career shot at that point.
That's the reality of a lot of the par 5s though at Bluff. I mean, with the exception of maybe number 4. Number 4, you still need to get the ball down there some ways off the tee.
Yep.
You know, but like number 12, that's a 3-shot hole.
Yep.
You know, 17 you can, because 17, like the landing zone's really hard. If you hit a good draw,
I think you got to be aggressive.
If you hit a good draw,
too.
but there's also a lot less risk involved on 17 as far as your approach shot in. Like you look, you know, the approach shot on number 8, you've got the pond. On number 12, you've got the reeds and the cattails over on the right that can, you know, just swallow up your ball. And on number 4, like you're not rolling a ball.
You got to carry it the whole way.
It's all carry. 17, you can essentially roll a ball up there.
Yep.
So I think 17 probably is the easiest to be aggressive for going at it in 2. But, a lot of those holes, I think, in 17, I'm always grabbing driver now because of the bailout you have to the right.
Yeah, you can miss it way right
but
on 17.
Number 12, I don't think I've hit driver on number 12 in probably a month, just because for me it's a 3-shot hole. Position, approach
number
shot.
12. I haven't hit a driver all year. I hit 3-wood.
You hit your iron. That like
I hit my driving
iron.
2 iron.
Off 12.
I hit the 2-iron and I just cut it right out. It always goes out with a slight cut right in front of the right bunker.
But there's a lot more
Good
room.
spot.
There's a lot more room to miss on the right.
Well, that's it. It's like I don't.
I at first thought anyway.
Yeah, and I used to hit the 3-wood down there, which would get me right in front of the bunker on the left. But same thing. You're still taking a mid iron and laying up, because I'm not at that point. You're 280 out. Like I'm not going for the green.
Yeah.
So you lay back up to like 100 yards, then you take a wedge in. So most of Bluff, even 17, I've taken like hybrids off of 17 if I want to just turn it into a 3-shot hole. Like hybrid, like 6-iron wedge is how you can play 17. At least in my game. I mean,
Sure.
But you guys, I mean, you hit it farther. You both hit it farther than I do. I don't. Nick just hits out the center, so he hits it farther than I do.
Nick's got length. Nick keeps up with me now.
Yeah,
off the tee.
So when I played with you, you had some really good drops.
It's. I'd say if I had to guess, like I'd say Rob would have it for the most part. I'd say Nick's pretty dead even.
Getting
like
up there?
if not more.
Rob's
than
fade
me.
is my draw off the tee. We
Yeah,
figured that out at a scramble tournament.
Rob's fade is Nick's.
I'm sure Nick reminded me several times that he was keeping up with me.
Well, you said we were dead even in the middle of the fairway.
I told you though. I mean,
yeah.
I've traded distance, for accuracy, and
you still have prodigious
I mean,
distance.
if you can get the ball out there, then you should. That would be my recommendation for anybody. If you can scale back a little bit of distance for position, go for it. It'll make your score drop very fast. I mean, last summer, my handicap went from, I think I came in the year before, my handicap was an 11 or 12. And when I was really playing every day last year, it got down to 3.8. And that was just kind of not really changing my swing a whole lot, but just, not trying to kill the ball every time.
Just smarter playing?
Just smarter playing. Yeah. Positionally, and just mentally being a better golfer too.
So how would you guys play? You played North Country before?
Yeah.
So how would you play like
Former member, right?
I was a member there.
when it was $100 green, like this? The junior membership was the cheapest in the world.
I did use the junior membership, but I play with like the Munson group, and they were members up there for a long time. But now just, with where everybody lives, it's so much easier for them to be members at Bluff. So I followed them there, but I played a lot up at North Country. What hole were you going to go to?
So like, let's say like number 2, let's say number 4, let's say number 5, and let's go with like number 8 on the front. Most of the other ones are pretty straightforward. Like 1, you can only play it one way. Mm-hmm. 3, 6, you can only play it one way. 7, you really can only play it one way. 9, you can really only play it one way. I mean, in the sense that you can't like 2, you can try to drive the ditch. You can play out left. Yep. Number 4, you can try to cut over the trees. You can play out safe. Number 5 too. How aggressive do you want to cut it?
If you want to be super aggressive on 5, you could try to go for it. That's like overly aggressive.
Chambers scramble. I took a 3-wood out and put it like pin high in the left. I cut it over the hedges, which is you can if you have the opening, and obviously again in scramble when you got guys safe.
It's right, exactly. It's easy to have
no
courage.
risk. There's no risk. Yeah. But like in a match, I never would do that. I'd always just take a mid iron and just pop it out in the fairway. So how would you guys play like those kind of holes?
I mean, number number 2, I tend to pull driver on number 2 and try to get it over. And usually I try to hit a draw, and if I miss left, it sometimes stays short. But I learned
You're used to that.
Well, yeah, I learned in the member guest tournament that it's probably not the smartest thing. So I don't know. I'll probably go iron or rescue club off of number 2. Number 4, I just aim left of that big tree, and if I miss it right, whatever, I usually don't hook the ball. So, and if I hit it straight, I have a 150-yard shot into a par 5. So
you always take a driver there.
Yeah.
Driver right at the water tower. That's all you got to do.
pretty much,
Yep.
yeah.
What about 5?
5, mid iron, 6, 7
So you
iron.
just play it out.
Yeah.
And then number 8, par 5.
Usually,
you go at it in 2? Do you
usually
go...
driver. If I'm inside 210, usually I'll try to go for it because number 8. There's not a whole lot of trouble to the right on that hole unless you like miss it way short. But if you're green side or whatever or pin high on 8, there's not a whole lot of trouble right. So I'll
trouble's
usually,
what, like 75 yards out on number 8, right? That's where those
about
two
yeah,
pots.
like 100.
yeah, short right,
And there's
You're right, about 75 to 100. There's a pot bunker. What's he pot bunker? There's a fairly deep bunker front left.
Yeah.
The best miss is actually just past the bunker on the left, if you can carry it, just because it's flat. Because if you're on the right, the green slopes back
Right.
towards the bunker.
Yeah.
So but yeah, I get what you're saying. There's no like nothing crazy that's going to stop you from getting it. It's just like your putt might run out a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that's like we were talking about way earlier, the difference in the par 5s between Bluff and North Country. The North Country, they might not be that much shorter than Bluff's par 5s, but the trouble around the greens or the approach shots that you're looking at, just the visuals, everything is a lot easier, I think, at North Country than
Absolutely.
Bluff,
Yeah.
so.
I can say that there's really not a lot of intimidating par 4s. The number 4 at North Country, that par 5 is the easiest par 5 around. You can definitely screw up on it, but it's pretty easy.
Harmony's first hole might have it beat, but
Yeah, you're right. Harmony's first.
Yeah.
Or Barrett's.
I don't know. You need to hit a good tee shot there, though.
I would say
Barrett's
it's pretty narrow.
Ba-
Yeah,
number 8 at Barracks.
Number 8 at
Is that what you were
Barracks
going
is
to say?
easier.
yeah.
Those
Those
are
are
all
all
pretty
pretty
close.
The thing is though, like with one at Harmony, I think you can run the ball a mile there too. The fairways are hard there,
I would say
think.
one at Harmony is...
It's just
The
it's tough
only
to
thing-
land
the
it,
only
but if
thing
you
with
land in the
Bluff
right
or
spot, it'll
the
go.
Barracks, it's so wide open that you can just hit long. You can hit a driver and swing at your shoes because it's gonna be 90% of the time it's gonna be safe.
Yeah, true.
And then you're hitting at
True.
worst probably a long iron into the green, which runs up to the green.
Yep.
I don't know. One at Harmony. I haven't played Harmony in a couple of years, but that's easy. How long is that hole? Number 1,
Not very.
like 460.
If I
downhill?
hit a good drive down the middle, like
I bet
8
you.
iron.
I bet you the
and
card
that
says.
short?
I bet you the card says it's a little bit longer than it is, but I mean you're at an elevated tee hitting down, so that shortens it up too. That you're carrying more distance that way.
Like,
Yeah.
Rob and I played. They do. They're actually starting them back up right now. This time of year in September.
Those like mini tournaments.
2-man mini tournament, scramble tournaments, and Rob and I did those last couple of years with each other. And
I think we were kicked out this year.
if he hits a good one, or if I hit a good one, we were always like 8 iron, or for him like pitching wedge into a par 5. So
That's crazy.
that's how short that hole is or can be.
I kind of that used to be a par 4, I think, back in the day when it was the
When it was
Port Kent.
Kent.
Yes, because the first hole was a short, like 90-yard par 3,
Par 3.
Yeah.
which the green was like where the tee box is now.
It was tucked on the left.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And if you missed long and right, you were down that ravine.
That was my first golf I ever played. I was like 10 years old. I went to Port Kent.
That was
played.
my
I
first
vaguely
round of
remember
golf.
Port Kent.
They used to have the
Vaguely.
mounds in the center of the green, or the
Yes.
center of the thing. It was you
Yeah.
put money in an envelope. It was like the honor system. They never had a pro shop. You just like walk up, put money in, and go play.
Yep.
Like there was no guy like checking. It was all honor system. Like,
Right.
You went and played, just throw money in the like, hey, it's $20 for a round. Put a $20 bill in, and or it was
Didn't
9
they
holes,
only
but-
have 9?
Yeah, it was 9. So it was probably
At
less
the
than that.
time?
Maybe $10.
The last hole was the one it was the par 3 that goes up to the clubhouse.
Yep.
That was number 9.
Is that number
At the time.
6 or 7?
Might be.
6
Six.
now. Yeah.
6.
Yeah.
Par 3 that finishes uphill.
Yeah, because they added they have 14 now, so they had extra 5.
Yeah, and they cut they cut some out in the middle too, didn't they? Or no, they just redesigned the way that you maneuver throughout the course.
Yeah.
Because like that short par 3 with the water tower was there before, I believe. But I think they've just reconfigured the way you navigate through the course.
Yeah.
Because like you said, I think that short par, it's not really a short par 3. It's a mid par 3 up towards the clubhouse. That was number 9, and it's now 6. So,
so Alec, how would you play those holes?
Too spotty for me. I'll usually take driver if I feel like if I feel like I'm swinging pretty well, even though it's tough to say after for the first hole. I'll usually take driver, but it's spotty because I could either land it there, or if I miss with driver, I'd say my miss is I'm going to hook it. So I know you can miss to the left. I just have a ways away. If I stay short, I'll go for it. If I have downwind, I'll definitely rip driver. 4, I can hook the ball. I definitely feel comfortable hooking the ball or like hitting a draw, so I'll usually try to be pretty aggressive and draw it around the tree. I hit a pretty good one in the Chamber tournament, and sometimes if I get it up there enough, especially with the wind, you can have 7 iron in. 5, I'd say mid iron, unless the tees are straight away, then I'll try to go for it. But if the tees are down low, then I would definitely say a mid iron. I've tried to like really be overly aggressive with a hook, and when that happens, I top it and it goes maybe 20 yards. So it doesn't work out too well. And then what was the last one? 8. I normally miss to the right there, believe it or not. I usually tend to flare a driver there. But if I hit it good, I'll go for it. Because like Nick said, there's a lot of room to miss to the right. And I think if I'm going to go for it with like a hybrid, believe it or not, I will hook it off the tee and all that. But I think if I'm going to go for it with like a long iron or a hybrid, I'd more miss to the right by pushing it than I would by hooking it.
Yeah, I think 8's one. If you have the distance, you should go on it in 2. Because taking the water to play, it's 100 yards out. So you gotta like if you smash any kind of long,
and you gotta be really left to be in that water too.
Yeah, like if you hit a long iron, hybrid, or not iron, I guess hybrid or driver into that hole, you clear everything. Minus
even
like
if you're 50
you
yards short, you're not in trouble.
You're pitching up. Yeah, you'd be 30. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, Rob, what about you on all those?
Everything is based on opponent position too, right? So, I would say I would have to, answer this question based on if I had honors. I think I'm pulling driver on number 2 all the time. Even if it's into the wind, if we're into the wind, then I'll just aim well left and play a fade just to cut out some distance, to not be in the little pond. But I think I'm going for 2. 4, I'll aim a little bit more aggressively left, and allow the ball to just fade back. If you're in the left rough, no big deal, as long as you're not behind one of those little trees on the left side. But aggressive line on 4. On 5, hook's not really in my, I wouldn't say it's in my arsenal. So I'd probably play like a 9 or 8 iron out to just in the fairway to give myself maybe 100 yards in. And then number 8, I think, unless there's like a major left-right wind, I think you're hitting driver there and trying to get home in 2, or at least get yourself up to there in 2. And like you said, missing on the left side on that hole, I've always found is more of a advantageous opportunity at birdie versus missing on the right side and then, having to deal with the slope. And if you do miss right, you really have to get a ball up in the air to try to get it to slow down, to not run off into the fringe or, just into the rough on the other side. So driver, position play, driver with an asterisk, depending on the wind.
So Nick, back to you. So go back 9. Try 13. I would say 13 and maybe 17 is the only ones that you could really play for.
13, the first par 5 on
Yeah, I'm
dog
looking
leg
at,
left.
Like, you got to think 10. 10, it's all positioning because you're just putting it down there. Probably a long iron hybrid, 3 wood, something like that. And then number 11, there's nothing there. I mean, that's super easy. It's straight away. As long as you just keep your drive somewhat straight.
Yeah, that approach shot into that green can be tricky. Even if it's
11?
only like
I feel like sometimes you're better off to just hit your putter and let it roll.
Well, yeah,
you
because
get closer.
It's
Yeah,
hard.
You just pitch and let it bounce out.
It's
It is
hard
a
to
tough
hold that
approach
green, and if the pin's in the front, you got to land it. Like a lot of holes at North Country, unless they're an elevated green, if they're a flat green and the pin's in the front, you got to land it well short. Depending on how the course is playing that day, usually. But if it's firm, you got to land your approach out well short.
Sometimes 11 it was soggy right in front of the green. The
Yeah.
green's firm,
Yeah,
but sometimes that
sometimes.
grass is kind of a little lull right there. So I find sometimes you try to pitch it up, it just sits, and then you pitch. I mean, then you can pitch up, but
Yeah, but then 13, that par 5 that goes left,
Like, would you be aggressive and try to hook it around? Or do you just play positioning out to the right of the tree?
in the member guest this year, I tried to hook it around the tree. One time I hooked it around and it was pretty good. I still laid up before the ditch on that shot, and usually if I try to draw or hook the ball, and I don't do that, usually it's a pretty straight ball. I rarely miss it right if I really try to exaggerate the hook. And that puts me right before the woods almost. So
what are you hitting off that? Driver?
Driver, yeah.
Okay, and then it's really not. I mean, 14 straightforward. 15, I'm guessing all you guys are hitting driver over that ditch.
Yeah.
You two definitely are. Well, you said you're long, yeah, so you must be
He's
fine.
as long
15.
as me, if not longer. I would
Okay,
say.
then you guys are all going over the ditch. And then 16, would you just play it out? Would you try to hook it around?
16, I usually just hit like a 5 or 6 iron.
Just out and play.
Try to draw it, cut off the approach.
Hook's
shot
not my bread and
distance,
butter.
but-
That's
So you'd
probably a
always
position
just
play.
Yeah.
you would just put pitch.
If I'm in a scramble, I'll try and like,
Yeah.
you know,
Do something.
an aggressive hook, but
But 16 is a lot like 5.
very
Kind of the
similar.
way it sets
yeah,
up.
absolutely.
How you approach
It's
the
a
hole.
The only difference is you can try driver if you don't hook it and you go long, or if you want to try to hook 3-wood, whatever your choice of club is. If you miss long, there's room to miss long.
Right.
You're not hitting
no
in,
penalty.
you're not hitting into the red shed that's over there.
Yeah, that
So,
building
the
or
garage,
or the
yeah.
gate.
Can you get it high enough to cut the corner on 16? I've never
The
actually
only reason
tried.
I say this is when I was a kid, Bart Van Leuven, who was up there religiously, at least every time I've ever watched him play, would tee it up, like tee the ball a little higher, and just put this big like high hook, whatever you want to call it, and he would smash it over the trees, and it would always land up around those bunkers.
The big difference between Bart's game and my game, Bart's very good.
Yeah, yeah.
Bart is very good.
So, but he's
Me,
the
not
only
so
guy I
much.
know that like that was his play. He'd just get up and he'd almost like lean back and just hit this like massive hook up over the tree. And he typically he was down by that front left bunker, that greenside bunker. So then he was just going up and he was pitching onto the green. At that point, he's just a little carry, So about 17. Driver? Or do you driver? Would you go at it in 2? Depending on live, a decent shot.
I would take my second swing, and go at the green. I don't know if
Yeah.
I'd necessarily hit the green, but
Because that one's a little
I'd go
tight, too,
as far as
because
like
I
I'd
don't.
send it up there.
You always lay up.
Usually. Sometimes I'll hit a rescue club and try to get lucky, but
I think the best play is just to hit it long into that flat spot right before the
Far
bunkers.
Or you're saying on the approach?
On the approach. Yeah, far left. You just got to hit it left of that bunker, and then you're clear sailing. Like if you just hit left of the bunker with a little fade, you're like perfect. But if you go down and play short of those bunkers, it's tough to go up on that green in 2 because you have 2 bunkers. The green's not that big, and then it slopes down behind.
Yep.
So it's kind of like unless you hit it, there's really not a good leave on that hole unless you got close around.
Because if you hit it, you're probably not going to hold it because you can't really hold the greens.
Yeah, it's a difficult shot where I think if you just take like a long iron and just kind of run it up short of those bunkers, and then you have like a 20-yard pitch shot.
See, I don't mind a greenside bunker shot. I actually would prefer that versus a greenside shot from the rough.
So you would probably try to run it up and then
I'd prefer to be in the bunker greenside than I would be in the rough.
okay.
So I think to answer the question, I would rather have a greenside bunker shot than a 50-yard pitch shot into the green. Only because it's a lot easier to check a ball up out of the trap, and put something close. I think at least. I mean,
if you get
most times I agree.
Yeah, a lot of pros they aim for greens. Like if I remember like some majors, pros would rather hit in the green because they can check it out versus in the greenside rough when they're like hacking and the ball's rolling
You mean a
out.
bunker? You're talking about
That's
the
right,
different
bunker.
bunkers?
So yeah. So a lot of pros would that would be their goal. It's like to hit it into a bunker where you have a good lie and just spin it because those guys they can check anything out of a bunker.
And you got to keep in mind too. They're hitting out of sand. We're hitting out of clay.
Yeah, so I didn't put down.
I like the sand at North Country.
Yeah, so I didn't.
I don't know
nice.
how it is at North
Theirs
Country.
is nice.
I'm saying
Yeah,
that, like,
theirs
bluff.
is nice. I didn't put down rake. Like I know you can play like rake. Rake in place. Because I've done that at Bluff. If they have like it rained and you get that clay.
Yeah.
Like to me, I don't think that's bad to just rake it and put it actually into sand. North Country, the sand is usually pretty good. So when we've gone up there, we haven't really raked in place. We've just played it as is. So I don't think we'll have to, unless maybe if there's a lot of rain like the night before, and it's like bunkers are just kind of like that wet sand, then it might enact that where you can just rake it, place the ball back down, and then just hit out of it. 'Cause I think out of the bunker, like if you're hitting in the one with just clay, it's like I know it's a penalty, but there's also the idea of you've done okay hitting out of clay, like that wet sand. There's like
I've had a couple good shots, but it's definitely hit or miss. I have a tendency to where if I don't go at it hard enough, it's the bounce of the club it's just gonna bounce right off, and I'm gonna blade it 9 times out of 10.
So I've done that. I remember one time at Bluff, I hit it perfect. It shot out over, like definitely was like bladed into it, hit in the rough, and kind of you could see it kind of spin back in the rough, hopped in and spun. So I raked it, put the ball back down, and hit it. Like it was a good shot, a few feet from the hole, but it went and it checked up, but it came out like it was supposed to, and I took the same exact swing. It's just like literally the ground. You couldn't go into the ground because it was just clay.
Yeah, the consistency of the bunkers when they're like that is hard.
Yeah,
so how hard you got to swing, and
I mean, we didn't change anything in regards to that, just because I think it's one less thing that like for people to do is just play it as a normal bunker shot.
Yeah.
I don't typically North Country has decent green or decent bunkers.
they do.
Yeah, so I don't think we're gonna have any issue there. Anybody nervous about any of their matches? Who they're playing? No. Nobody wants to admit it.
No,
I don't know much about my opponent. I mean, I know
Who do you have? 'Cause
Russell Merrill. I know Russell from like vaguely, like in passing from a while ago, but
Yeah,
I've never played golf with him. I don't know how he plays, so
He's 15.
we'll see.
Rumor 15.
We'll see what's good.
15.
I don't know.
You're 7.
I haven't
You're
played.
8 and 5.
Yeah.
The good news is we'll be getting some. We'll get strokes from you guys in that. That's the is that foursomes
the
or four ball?
Four ball, I think.
4 ball.
Yeah.
So you guys play the first match. Who's in the first match with you?
I have Russ Merrill, and then
That's the first one.
Yeah.
Yo, you guys are the first group out. That
Yep.
day, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys actually are the first match.
Yeah.
and then alternate shot. I have Wade with me, and I think you're in that match, right?
I am. I don't remember.
We
We were
couldn't
talking
figure out
about
who
this
the fourth
earlier. I
were.
don't remember who
So
my
wait,
partner is.
Wade was an 18. You're 7.
Yeah.
25. I think you're with Adam
Roberts?
Robert.
Yeah.
So I was telling him that's the match. You guys are both, because the way alternate shot works, you add up the score or add up the total and divide it by 2. Mm-hmm. The difference in the total divided by 2. So you guys actually both end up being 25s. So there's no difference. So
Great.
it's actually a straight up match. It's the only one that has nobody's getting or giving strokes.
There's less to worry about in that case. Then.
Yeah, so
You're
it's
just playing 9 holes.
Just straight up.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that will be good. The first one though, you're playing with Russell. So you're playing as a scratch. You're getting 2 strokes from him. You're getting 3 strokes from him, even though you're on the same team. Mm-hmm. Russell is getting 10. So Russell's actually getting 9 because the 90% rule. So, because you still get strokes from your partner in that. So you're going to actually, the 2 hardest, what did I say? You're getting 3?
Three.
So actually you're getting a stroke on number 2 and a stroke on number 8. And
all right.
Is it full though? Because it's a 9-hole match. So is it full handicap, or are you
we do full,
dividing it by 2?
We do full handicap based on the actual handicap holes.
Gotcha. So in other words, Nick is a 3 for 18 holes, right? Is it 3
Well,
or 5? No, you're 5 in the tournament.
5
for
for
the
18.
tournament.
So is he a 2.5 then for 9?
I did it straight up. So
Gotcha.
he's giving you 2 strokes over 18.
And you'd get those 2 strokes on the holes per the handicap.
1 and 2, which ends up at North Country being hole 2 and hole 13.
Gotcha.
So you would get only 1 stroke in that match in the 4 ball.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
So you get the 1. You would get 2 because, or 3 because the third hardest hole is also on the front. Had it been on the back, you would have only gotten 1. So that was just luck of the draw.
Makes
so a lot
sense.
of the odd one, and then Russell gets like, what did I say, 9? So I think like the first hole was not number 9 was the first hole ranked. So
Yeah,
he'd get
so
like
he'll get what, 5 on the front?
5 or 4.
Right.
Depending on how it shakes out. But I
Sure.
forgot, like, if you look at it, he's going to get 1 through 9. So wherever 1 through 9 is on the course, but you'd be playing on the front 9. So hole number 1, what is that? The 9th or 10th?
Hole number 1 is 9.
So you get a stroke on 9.
Yeah. 9, 1. So you get obviously a stroke on 2. You get 5. You get a
7,
stroke
8,
on
9.
1, 2, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the foursomes, is that on the back?
4 sums is on the back.
And then singles is back to the
Singles is
front?
supposed to be the front. We're going to petition to try to get it on the back.
Gotcha.
We're going to see how because I would rather finish on the 18th hole.
Sure. Makes sense.
So that's the only difference. I have cards made out for both sides. Cards are all done. So basically, if we can swing it to play the back nine for the singles,
that would be
I'd
cool.
prefer to do
People
that.
sitting, hanging out on the porch. That's a really nice finishing hole. Probably the nicest finishing hole for spectators, right?
Yeah.
In our area.
Depends on who's hitting into the green, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
But I think at that one,
dodgeball's fun too.
if we can have everybody up there, especially as more groups start coming in, depending on the score,
Yeah.
it could end up being the last couple of groups are just getting chirped by everybody on the because everybody's just kind of
great.
waiting for the
Yeah.
big
That
wouldn't be
end,
the
so you're
worst thing.
seeing people come towards you.
Yeah.
Because last year we ended on number 9, and like unless you were there, like you couldn't. It's tough because you kind of finished and walked back to the car. Like this, everybody's right there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited. I think that's going to be kind of the cool thing. So the singles now, you're playing Brady, you're playing Russell, and you're playing who'd you say?
Wade.
Wade. That's good though. You guys all like know each other for the most part.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We tried to do that a little bit too. We were trying to like put some guys together that actually knew each other, so they're not just completely by themselves. But so when did you guys start playing golf?
I didn't start. Well, I had clubs, and I'd go and hit at the driving range when I was, younger.
What about Fox Hill?
There's a good story there. So Nick and I used to go to Fox Hill, and just with pitching wedges, I think, and we used to hit
Yeah.
pitching wedge. And there was one day, I think Nick. I'm
Like,
lucky
what
to
age were we at this point?
maybe 12.
12, 13 maybe.
I'm lucky to still be here talking, because I very well, could not have seen my, high school years because Nick went to just like, I don't know if he was just trying to chip a ball up the hill, if he was trying to chip one over my head. He just thins one, and he wasn't very good then.
Yeah, we
and
were hacking away.
He just thins one, and it goes zipping by my head. And like I just gave him this look like, oh my God, that could have killed me. And he had the same look on his face. But so we would mess around with clubs then. But then Nick was a good baseball player, but then he ended up switching over to golf for high school. And that's when we kind of parted ways with our aggression in sport, maybe a little bit. But
Yeah.
like he's a Yankee fan. I'm a Red Sox fan. So we always had that, baseball rivalry. But then, as far as that goes, we switched. So I was playing baseball throughout high school. I had clubs. I'd go hit balls at the driving range occasionally. But I didn't really start golfing until I was probably end of my senior year in high school. The summer between my senior year of high school and my
Yeah.
first year at Plattsburgh State.
Because that's when we played in a lot of scramble tournaments.
Right.
Was that summer.
Yeah. So, I mean, I haven't been, I've probably been golfing. I mean,
8
I wouldn't
years?
count the driving range as golfing. I've probably been golfing on the golf course for 8 years.
Okay, Nick,
9.
what about you?
I started freshman year of high school. So like Rob said, I played baseball for the school in middle school up until 9th grade. Got talked into playing golf. Got hooked. Absolutely loved it. Played for PHS for 4 years and been playing ever since. So closer to like 12
So
years,
you just got
11,
like
12.
that was the first time you ever kind of like really
Yeah,
bought clubs actually committed to playing.
A friend of mine, Keenan Huntstone, his father, we were over in Vermont for something. They had a family trip, and I just went with him. And his father went out and got me a used driver, 7-iron, wedge, and a putter. And when we got back to Plattsburgh, like the next day, he took us to Port Kent, and we played. I probably hit one good shot out of the 9 holes,
all you need.
and that was all you need, like everyone says.
That keeps
Hook,
you
line,
coming
and
back.
sinker, baby.
Yeah,
Got
the
'em.
one that keeps
and that
coming
was
back.
that was
Absolutely.
I think that was the summer in between 8th and 9th grade. So I was really, really thinking about it at that point, switching over. And yeah, it was a tough decision, but yeah, that's when I switched.
What about you?
So I started like swinging and hitting balls when I was like 3. My grandfather used to take me out, and I used to go out with him when I was younger.
Is he still playing?
Yeah.
Oh,
He
phenomenal.
put it away for
Doc.
this year, but yeah, he's still out there.
I just hope to be alive at his age.
Yeah, just
He is
turned
in-
87.
he is in
Just
phenomenal-
turned 87.
phenomenal
Yeah, ridiculous
shape
shape
and
for that
condition.
age. Yeah, I think he contributes it to his he does these stretches every day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I used to go to Willie King's camp, and kind of circling back to baseball. It's actually how I got to know both of them through baseball, because we all played Little League together, and they were both studs. So I didn't play baseball for the school. I actually ran track in middle school, and Nick talked me into playing freshman year, and it kind of just went off from there. I didn't play in matches till senior year, but that's when I started to play on the team, And it all changed for me. I remember watching the 2012 Masters. I was in North Carolina, and my uncle used to be a pro. And I remember watching. I remember when
Adam
Louis
Scott?
It was when Bubba won. Yeah.
Okay.
And I remember Louis Oosthuizen he made a double eagle. He hit a 4-iron.
Oh yeah,
I just watched this putt that just trickled in, and I thought it was the sickest thing. And I just was like enamored by the tournament. I remember watching these guys watching Keegan Bradley make a birdie putt and just like, oh man.
I knew for certain that Alex started golf at a young age because his baseball swing was
exactly.
also.
I could not.
If the
Rob
ball was down in the zone, he had a chance to crush it. But if the ball was up by the letters, there wasn't
He
a
was
chance.
missing
No,
it by a foot.
100%. They both of them tried multiple times, as did so many other people, to get me to swing a baseball bat level, and I just could not do it. I could not do it. It was just instinctually drop the left shoulder, drop it, just no matter what. It couldn't be done. It couldn't be done. And so I'm happy I made the switch. Thanks to Nick for talking me into it.
Did you guys, when you started out, have the baseball grip on the golf club?
Nick still does.
Yes.
Do you?
Still do. 10-finger grip. Yep.
Really?
I don't interlock or overlap. I can't do it.
Really?
Can't
You didn't
do
know
it.
that? Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he still does.
What do you guys do?
I overlap. Interlocking hurts my fingers.
I interlock now. I started baseball grip, and then Josh McMillan quickly got me out of that. He said, whoa. All right, if you're going to start playing golf, you need to learn how to grip the club. So,
wow, so you guys all three use different grips.
he got me into that quickly, and
shit.
I can't get away from it.
I had an instructor. So in the summers between school years, I went to a camp at Bluff Point, the junior golf camp. And there was an instructor there who, it wasn't my high school coach, it was a different guy. He would come over to me every single day and try to change my grip. And while he was standing in front of me, I would change my grip. As soon as he walked away, it went back. And I just couldn't do it. If I interlock, I lose a ton of distance. And if I overlap, I have no idea where it's going. So
That's
Is that
crazy.
Dodd?
So do you find that
yeah.
do you have a miss? Like if you go for the baseball grip, does that eliminate a miss for you?
I mean, not.
Yeah, he's a 3 handicap. He
I
doesn't.
was gonna say like no
I mean-
misses because you're one of the when I played one round with you and you're one of the straightest hitters I've ever seen at.
It's
Like,
been that way.
Well,
It's
it's just
been
the-
that way since we were freshmen.
It's
it
just
was
the
like irons are
easiest.
straight, drivers straight, woods are straight. Like when you got up, I'm like the only way he's missing is a bad hop or he hits it long or short.
He's tough to play against.
Like
because
everything is just
yeah.
straight, and I was like, this guy's
he's tough
never
to play
missing.
against because of that. He's infrequently in trouble. The way to beat him is his short game needs to be bad. He needs to,
Yeah.
he needs to
He
three-putt a
putts
few
great.
greens.
He putts great overall. If he's not putting well, that's like your biggest win.
Now that he's got a little more length, especially from some of the customization that he's gotten with his driver. I mean, you
irons,
cut your driver down,
Yeah.
so his driver's shorter now, so it can fit his height.
and I mean, it
But
looks
you
like
still,
it's
yeah,
like,
but you
well,
still choke down on it.
and
Yeah.
It could be
It's
you have
just
it's
a
closed at
comfortability
it's
thing.
closed at address, right? Like you have it looks like it's pretty closed when it's like at address, but I mean, it's squared right away.
Yeah, when I
Mashes
my
it.
initial thought when I see you line up to a ball is that your face is like turned down.
No kidding.
Yeah, I
It
do
makes
off
me
though.
feel
You
like
notice that?
it makes me feel like my
Mine's-
driver is set up to hit like a massive slice based on watching his. Like I'm waiting for him, like the baseball player that fouls the down and in pitch off of the left ankle. Like I'm waiting for Nick one of these days with the way his
Yeah.
club is set to foul the ball off his left ankle. But he, like you said, it's straight down the middle.
money.
No, yeah.
Every
I mean,
time.
going back to the grip, I just found that transitioning from like driver to my irons to my wedges, the baseball grip was just the easiest to do it with. Like I've tried interlocking and overlapping with my driver at the driving range, and believe it or not, that was the easiest club to do it with. But when I got down to my wedges and my shorter and longer irons, it was just I have no idea. Like I don't know where it's going. I can't be as precise.
I don't think I ever knew that about. Like, didn't you overlap?
Yeah.
I don't think I ever knew that either.
Yeah, I used to interlock like in high school, but it really started to hurt my fingers.
It hurts.
It does. It just
Come on.
Just no, it does. It's a thing.
Dude,
It's a bad feeling. Another thing too is if you think of it too, if you do the interlock, you got 8 fingers on the club. Overlap, you got 9, and baseball, you got 10. And that's kind of like just fun fact about it, which is I guess having
For those
different
that can't
fingers-
count.
For those that can't count, yeah. But I guess like some people, because I used to like read about different pros who had different grips. Like fun fact, guy who won the Masters in 1959, Art Wall, he had a 10-finger grip. He also has I think the world record for hole-in-ones. He has like 45, something like that. But point being, a lot of golfers would pick their grip based on how they felt the release of the club, and having more fingers on it or not, I guess, is something that played a part in it.
So
for me, overlap was the most comfortable.
So when I was a kid, it was baseball grip. I started when I was 10, baseball grip to like probably like 11, 12 years old. And then I was like, I got to like learn how to swing a golf club. So I forced myself to change. I went interlocking because when I held it with overlapping, I couldn't hold on to the club. Because the clubs, like when you're a kid, they're not sized to you. So you're kind of always using like adult clubs. So I always found if I took away the baseball grip, which you had a lot of grip on, and it went down to this grip, I found that my hands would like, it was too hard for me to hold it. But when I interlocked it, I felt like my hands were more connected and I wouldn't lose the club.
Yeah.
So I've been interlocking since I was like maybe 12 or 13.
Jack interlocks, Tiger interlocks.
Yeah.
The biggest
Works.
thing I've
Yeah.
found with the baseball swing versus interlocking, the interlock, like you said, everything becomes one. It's all in one. Where with a baseball grip, you've now got two moving parts versus one moving part when you're together. So like I've found, just thinking back on when and occasionally, like when Nick told me, he reminded me about a month or two ago when we played. So like I tried to hit, at the range, I tried to hit a couple shots just with the baseball grip. And I feel like my hands are moving all over the place when they're not interlocked. So like for me, that's the biggest thing. But I mean, clearly he makes it work just fine.
And kind of going off of that, because to me, like the feeling of the hands being together, I would play softball and I use the same golf grip playing softball. If I were to play baseball, I do the same thing.
Even
Granted,
when
it doesn't help my
think-
golf baseball swing. But
think
yeah,
you want that though.
If
That's all launch angle. Softball's all launch angle. You want that swing there.
If I'm playing softball, I would grip it like a golf club and I would swing that way.
I want to say Mark McGuire had an overlap,
I think you're right.
didn't he?
Yeah.
I remember he used to put his finger, I think, down on the butt of the club. Or butt of the club. The bat.
The pinky down on the
Yeah.
knob.
I think he was on
On
top
the
of it.
knob.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or maybe that was it. Maybe it wasn't overlap. But maybe
I want to say though there was somebody too a while back that had some type of interlock with the upper part of their hands to keep their knuckles more, like the door knocking knuckles that you want with a baseball bat rather than choking the bat. But I don't know. Not positive.
yeah, I don't
interesting.
know. I didn't think we were gonna have that many difference in grips. That's crazy. I didn't know like all three different ones.
Jim Furyk has a double overlap.
Does
I've tried that and that's just strange.
So he puts these two fingers there.
Yeah, like he'll have his pinky and his ring finger.
But it just doesn't
both
like it seems like
overlap.
too like
Both
clumped.
overlap.
Like
Too much going on there.
too much like it's too like
Yeah, I mean, look at his swing.
yeah,
A lot going on there, but it works.
No, for sure. I mean, if anybody's on the tour, I'm not going to give them lessons.
Yeah, right.
Like it's just like
Hard
when
to critique people
I'm
that are at
holding
that
it,
level.
I'm
Broke
like,
60
man, it just
twice.
seems like it's a lot of. Maybe it's better. I don't know. Like I just found the baseball grip though. I didn't think anybody was going to say that. Not it's about a bad thing. It's just usually when you're a kid, that's what you start off with, and everybody just kind of
no,
like
he kills
transitions
it.
out.
Yeah,
Huh.
kills it.
Um,
Does the same thing when you do the same thing putting, don't you?
You've played around with putting grips, haven't you?
I've played around, but usually I resort just to regular baseball 10-finger grip with my thumbs down the grip.
like this.
Yep.
Yeah.
How do you putt?
So I used to do just a regular like overlap with my left hand, but I went cross hand this year, so I'm left hand low. For me, that's just helped me. I mean, even though my putting stroke is atrocious right now and really need to work on it, for me, it's just helped me. Like I think I'm a lot more solid closer to the hole, and I make a more centered stroke. I have a tendency to cut across it the other way.
What about you, Rob?
I played with a lot of different grips. My putting used to really stink. But like the biggest thing I do is, I don't know how often you watch Dustin Johnson, but a very similar grip to Dustin Johnson, like the thumb straight. And then, my hands do overlap a little bit, and then like my left index finger is over my, right fingers a little bit on the club. So, it's a little bit different, but it's, hands are kind of overlapped quite a bit.
I think I'm trying to think. I always put my finger down the shaft though.
I used to do that
been
down
doing
the,
it.
down the
I
grip.
played around with that.
I used to do that
too a
Um,
while ago.
And, I mean, there would be days when I'd putt great and there'd be days when I'd just not putt great. So I don't think I wouldn't attribute it to that. I'd attribute it, just like anything else to like, the more you play, the better you get, the more you practice. But this is just the one that I've found to be most comfortable. There's a lot of people that I play with in our group that have the finger down the grip. Like Koepka uses that now, I think, on tour. So I think it's just about a comfort thing.
That was like instinctual for me when I was a kid. I've been putting like that I don't think I've changed my putting grip in 15 years. Like I've always I can't remember if I think I kind of overlap it, but this finger's always down, and it's just for keep my finger like lined up so my hands aren't twisting and keep my wrist out of it.
Yep.
Do you guys change putter? You flip flop putters, but you don't really change them.
Yeah. No, I haven't like changed them per se. I've more so just swapped them out. I played the Peretti forever. I got that back in, I think, freshman or sophomore year of college. And I played that up until I got the Scotty for a great deal this year. And so now...
Too good to be named on tape, right? The deal was too good to be talked about.
The deal was too good. No, it was great. A Scotty for like $150. Something nice and easy. But it had a great grip on it too. But I put that in the bag this year just because I like the weight of it more. It's a lot lighter than the Peretti, and so I thought I'd be able to make a smoother stroke. But I just put the Peretti back in. They're both blades. I'm trying to get away from that. I think for my next investment for a putter, I don't know when that'll be, but I'm trying to get away from blades. I've been doing those interchangeably now this year, but prior to that, I played the Peretti for.
So blade, do you have mallet or blade?
I have a mallet. I prefer a mallet. I have bounced back and forth to a blade, but I have a TaylorMade Spider. I've had it for 5 or 6 years probably.
Yeah.
So it just, it's comfortable to me. It looks good, and I feel like that's a lot of your putting stroke.
Visual appeal is a lot in golf.
Feeling good over the putt.
Yeah.
If you stand over the putt, I feel like, when I go to a blade, it just, it feels like I'm swinging a wiffle ball bat, with a 90 mile an hour fastball being pitched to me, where at least, the weight of the mallet just feels right for me. At the beginning of this year, I was looking into getting a different putter. I was going to get a different TaylorMade mallet. But I got hot with a putter. So I really haven't, had the need to go get a different one. But I think that if I find myself in a putting funk down the road, I think I'd go get something and just, change back and forth as frequently as I need to. If I go out there and putt terrible, I don't think I would mind, just switching to a different putter the next day and back and forth. But I think my comfort one will always be that Spider.
What about you?
I had the same TaylorMade blade putter from freshman year until this year. I started putting with it this year, and I always wanted to try the switch to a mallet, and my buddy got a new putter, and he had his old mallet sitting around, so he sold that to me. And like Rob said, with the wiffle bat thing, it does look a lot better looking down at a mallet for me. It feels better. The consistency of like the ball strike feels better. Like with my blade, if I mishit it, like I knew it and I was penalized for it. With the mallet, I might be able to mishit it a little bit, and it's a more forgiving putter, and I think I've putted better with it than I have the blade. So
yeah, I was gonna say blade putter. I've always played with the blade, but I can see it's harder to line up, I think, than a mallet. Because a mallet, you typically got a little bit more backing. You kind of have that, whether it has lines or whether it has some kind of visual cue that you can put it where, you know what I mean? Like putting something like this to run a straight line versus something like this to run a straight line. This is easier to kind of navigate when you have more space to look at.
I've actually considered, so like TaylorMade does the sight line on their putters. I've considered getting a different TaylorMade Spider without the sight line. I try to use a line on my golf ball now more than, the alignment of the putter head itself. I tend to find sometimes that the gap between the line on the ball and the line on the mallet, so just that little gap between tends to like really play with me visually. So, like
you're trying to put them like parallel to, I say parallel, but like run them right into each other.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like for me, at this point, I think I want a line in one of the two spots, and I think I prefer to have the line on the golf ball because I think having the line on the golf ball allows you to see how well you stroke that putt. Mm-hmm. If you see the line going end over end, you hit it well. You hit it on the line. You didn't come across it. You didn't pull it. You hit a good stroke. So I think you see that feedback from the golf ball, the line on the golf ball, where, you know, the sight line on the putter, you don't get that same feedback off the golf ball. You might not know if you pulled it. You might not know if it was a bad read. So that's my input, or, you know, my outlook on it now.
What's your putter? TaylorMade, or is your mallet now?
It's a mallet. It's an Odyssey.
Odyssey.
Yeah.
Is Callaway own Odyssey?
I'm not sure.
Same company. Callaway.
I think they. I
there's some kind
think
of
they
connection.
have some type of ownership or affiliation
Yeah.
there. Might be like sister company.
Did you guys watch the Tour Championship?
Of course.
A little bit. I wasn't home as much. I've found myself. I'm a big fan of Dustin Johnson, along with, like, you know, Sergio Garcia, Ian Poulter, William McGirt, and Kieran Affabarnret, right? So, like, if those guys
tour card, you see that?
I saw that Affabarnret got it back, but, like, you know, for those guys, if those guys are in contention, I'll go out of my way to make sure I either record it or find time to watch it. Dustin Johnson really wasn't ever in contention. And, like, I'm not a big John Rahm fan. I'm not a big Cantlay fan. You know, like Justin Thomas, the problem is, I think that, like, all those guys are so, like, neutral. Like, I kind of like I'm not a fan of Koepka. I'm not a fan of DeChambeau, but I love that they create, like, animosity. You know,
Yeah.
I love the fact that there's people that hate each other out there. And that's part of the reason why I think I like Ian Poulter, right? Because he's developed several rivalries. Sergio Garcia, like, has slammed his club in bunkers. He's thrown his shoe. Like, I mean, that's kind of like the entertainment factor that, like, sometimes people want in sports, you know, to keep things interesting. I feel like the Cantlay, Rahm, Justin Thomas, Kevin Na, they're a vanilla product.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know the Foreplay Pod guys, the Barstool Golf
Oh yeah.
podcast.
No, I've just
kinda,
come into them. Like,
they kind of talk about the same thing. You know, there's, you know, however many guys out there from week to week competing against each other, and golf is for so long, like, you know, gentleman's game, and, like, everything is so, like, fine tuned and stuff like that. But when there's that kind of competition out there, like, some guys are not gonna like each other, and I think lately it's been shown more. And for me, Rob, obviously, and to others out there, I think it's more entertaining, and it's brought something to the sport that, you know, I think has been missing for a long time.
I think it just, like, I mean, I'm sure you're the same way. I'm sure all four of us are the same way. We're all competitive people. We were all, you know, very involved in athletics. I think you prefer to hate one of your opponents or strongly dislike one of your opponents, because I think it gives you a little added, you know, emphasis on playing well or doing well in whatever your task is. You know, like, going into this, I'm gonna do my best to get as mad as I can about something that Nick has done or said, and that's, you know, I'm just gonna try to use that as fuel. Sometimes it's not easy, but, you know, sometimes you just have to, you know, create little rivalries or issues in your head, you know, and roll with them and just try and build a little momentum out of it.
That's like, did you guys watch The Last Dance? Michael Jordan?
No.
Yes.
Documentary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you hear when he I forgot the guy's name, and it was like a specific game. He was talking about, it was some, like, no-name guy playing for some team. Forgot what it was. And they were doing back-to-back games. So they had, like, a home and away type game.
Mm-hmm.
And they played them at, I believe they played them down at, it might have been Memphis or something, this guy. And he scored certain points. And Michael Jordan, like, going in at the end of the whatever, I don't even know if he told the team or told the press, he said, yeah, so-and-so mouthed off to me about something. This guy that played, like, shot like 30 points the night before. And Jordan was like, yeah, he said something to me and whatever. So the next night, Jordan goes out and lights him up. Like, guarded him. The guy scored like 2 points, and Jordan, like, went off. I don't know, 40 something. It was like whatever. He just had a great game. And then they asked, like, did that even happen? He goes, no. So he goes, the guy never said anything. He goes, no, I just needed something to fire me up. And that's literally what he did. I'm like, this guy's crazy. So, like, if he told, I gotta like look it up. But the whole storyline basically was he fabricated this thing that this guy said. This
to
poor,
get himself
like,
going.
one guy that had a good game against Michael Jordan. And finally, Michael Jordan's like, all right, I'm playing some game in my head where
I
you said
definitely
something to me.
remember
Now I'm
reading about
motivated to
that.
beat you. And it's like, You're talking about the best player ever versus this no-name guy that, like, again, they said his name. I've never heard of this guy. But that was it. He just, like, he made something up in his head.
It's going to bother me
motivate him.
now.
And in golf, like, it can be something as simple as, you know, you think you've got a gimme and they don't give it to you, right?
Yeah.
And then you're just
Yeah.
you're fired up about it.
Well, that's
you
the
know?
thing, like-
I mean, that's happened before. I mean, just look at some of the people that we've played golf with. You know, like Coyer's one of them. You know, if you don't
Yep.
give him a putt that he thinks he should have, then you know he's fired up. He's stewing for the next 2 or 3 holes.
Yeah, and I mean, those guys, their season is so long on the PGA Tour. Like, they're grouped together. The chances of you playing with the same person are pretty high. And with this whole, you know, like social media, this new incentive that
No kidding.
they have this year, like Bryson and Brooks and Koepka and like all of them
Indirect
going at
shots
it.
constantly.
I think that has gone maybe a little bit too far with the Bryson and the Brooks Koepka situation, but all in all, I think it's good for the sport, like I said before, and I think it's going to bring out a lot of emotions on and off the golf course that you normally wouldn't see on the tour, and I think that's good.
Well, I think
I think it's going to bring more people to the spotlight too, like your boy Harry Higgs. You're a big fan of Harry
I'm a
Higgs.
big Harry Higgs.
Does he
fan.
have any buttons on his shirt?
None. No, did you hear the story of what he did with that?
No.
So Harry, they go. I was watching this somewhere, and they asked him about the shirts, and he gets shirts made by whatever company sends him the shirts,
Yeah.
and he goes, "No, I don't want the. I can't get the whatever it is. There's a certain amount of buttons he needs. Like, he
Yeah.
doesn't want the 2 button. It needs to be like a 3 button." And he goes, "The only reason he leaves it open is because he goes, I'm a big guy, and he goes, I sweat, and I like to have a little
Right.
breathing room. And that's it. He goes, it's not a fashion statement. He goes, I've been doing this since college. So now, like, that's like become a thing. It's like the Harry Higg, like, wide open shirt. He's a beauty, man.
Do you think
he's a legend?
Do you think he looks a little bit like Nate Emery? Have you ever thought about it? Look it up.
It's pushing it, but
Look it up.
It's
And
pushing it.
The first
but
time I
it's-
saw
it's
Harry
there.
Higgs, the first thing I thought of, it was a tournament. He was rocking, you know, the big glasses. I don't know if they were aviators like Mickelson, but he was rocking the big glasses. And the first thing I thought of was Nate Emery.
Yeah, I could see that then.
So,
Yeah.
the first time I saw Harry Higgs, I'm like, who's this douchebag? Because he showed up, big fat guy, kind of walking down, shirt unbuttoned. He had like the aviator glasses on and a hat, and I'm like, and he's just swinging. It looked like he's having a good time, and I'm like, who is this guy? And this may have been earlier in the year, maybe end of last year, and he's good. I mean, he made the tour championship, so I mean, he's top 30, but I think he's got a couple wins in him coming soon because
All
he's
right.
playing well.
I got a question for all you guys. If Brooks Koepka is injured and can't play in the Ryder Cup, who's going to replace him, do you think?
His wrist, right? You just
Did
hurt
they
his
announce
wrist?
all of the captains?
Yeah,
names
they
yet?
did.
today.
Yeah.
Did they today? Well, see,
Yeah.
that's what
Daniel
happens when-
Berger,
I'm at
Scotty
school.
Scheffler.
Tony Finau.
I'm at school and there's no
Tony Finau,
service.
Jordan
Xander
Spieth.
Schauffele.
Shoffley, Spieth.
Schauffele, Spieth, Finau, Scheffler, Berger, and
I can't remember.
Who's the other one?
we got
Oh, it's
five of
Harris
those.
English.
Harris English.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then,
Who's
if
been
you
playing very well
so
lately.
if you had to pick someone, I mean, I don't know what it would be based on, but if you had to say, because like the rankings are in, the captain's picks are in, if you had to pick someone that would replace Koepka, who do you think it would be? I mean,
Outside of those captain's picks, right? Because
Yeah.
those guys are already in.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wouldn't be Harry Higgs, but
no, I don't think it would.
if that's what you were getting at.
That wasn't a good segue,
No,
but
no, it's not Harry Higgs. I think it would. If I had
so
to guess,
if
I think it'd
Koepka's
be
out,
Reed.
right?
I think it'd be Patrick Reed because I mean Stricker even said, geez, I don't want to.
Is
I don't wanna
Patrick
leave
Reed
him
back
off."
100%? He wasn't.
I haven't been
he wasn't
following
hot in
that,
the
but
Tour
I heard-
Championship.
He's
Yeah.
he played.
You know,
at East
I'd
Lake.
love-
Played the other day, yeah.
I'd love to see Kisner. I'd love to see
Kiss.
Kevin Kisner, but it's Whistling Straits. It's long, and I don't know if his game
doesn't match him.
technically fits that course and what they're trying to do there. But match play record, he is phenomenal.
The nice thing though about I mean in stroke play he's got to bomb and gouge, and that's not his bread and butter, but he's just got to be better than one guy
Yep.
each hole, in the Ryder Cup. So
I would love to see Kevin Kisner.
I would love Kiz. Yeah.
Kiz would be great. I think.
I'm trying to
he'd
think
be-
like
I think
top
he'd be
American
sick.
players. I think Kiz.
Ricky Fowler's not in, is he?
No,
He's bad year.
I don't want to talk about it.
Endorsements and commercials. He's too busy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who are the main guys in? Koepka, DeChambeau, Cantley,
Thomas.
Thomas, Morikawa. Yeah.
And
There's one more. Top 6.
um,
Dustin Johnson.
yeah,
Yeah, he was an auto qualifier.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's 6. That's weird though. 6 captains picks. That's more than they've ever had. I think it used to be 2 or 4.
There used to be more auto qualifiers. You're right.
Yeah, it wasn't 6.
I thought it was 3 captains picks.
Might have
It
been.
was a very small
There
amount.
was like 9 auto and 3.
I honestly wanted to
captains
say
picks.
2. I think they used to qualify top 10, and then they had 2 captains picks.
Did you say Webb Simpson was a captain's pick or no?
Oh,
No.
God, I don't like Webb Simpson.
I don't mind Webb Simpson. Webb Simpson's a guy that I wouldn't mind seeing.
I would say
Patrick Reed too. Like he's got that clutch jerk side in him, but
he's good. I'd like to do Kiz just because of Kiz.
Who are the top ranked Americans? Not is that like is Webb Simpson the top ranked American?
Did you put Scotty Scheffler in there?
He got picked.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jason Kokrak, Sam Burns, Billy Horschel,
Sam
Burns is
Burns.
playing.
Sam Burns. That would be that would be
Kevin
interesting to
Kisner,
see.
Kevin Na, Phil Mickelson.
I bet you Kevin Na would be a good Ryder Cup guy.
Gary Woodland was a Ryder Cup guy for a while, and he had a very
Won the US
silent
Open.
year, right?
Yeah. He won the U.S. Open last year? Not this past year, obviously. 2 years ago.
That was a couple
3 years ago?
18? 19? 18?
Yeah. Wait, no.
Was
Woodland
he in the
and
20? Was it 2018? Last year they had the Ryder Cup because last year's got moved
got
to
pushed
this year.
This year, yeah.
Was he? I think Woodland played that year.
Where did they play last time? Was it Italy? Paris?
That's gonna kill me.
I think it was Paris.
I think
it
you're
was
right,
Glen
Paris.
Eagles in 2014, and then 2016 was I want to say like Hazeltine maybe.
Yeah, 24.
Yeah, Bethpage.
Bethpage.
Let's go. That's a must go.
Yeah, Alec texted me about that the
Yeah, it
other
was
day.
like, yo, we're
Yeah,
going.
Bethpage.
I'm looking forward to the U.S. Open is in
Brookline.
Brookline, Mass, which is just outside of Boston, and then the following weekend is the tournament we've always gone to, the Travelers Championship.
Yeah, we got to get
So
back
I'm
on
I'm
that
looking
next year.
I'm looking for a doubleheader weekend there.
How's the Travelers? I wanted to do that.
Sick.
I want to say
Fun.
that the PGA Tour tabs that as like the most fan friendly tournament, right?
Yep.
I mean, I think last year
Yeah.
it won like most fan friendly.
It's definitely picking up speed as one of the flagship events on tour that like a lot of the big names
Which is
are
weird.
willing to
It's
go
always
to.
the week after the U.S. Open.
and it's
Yeah.
you're
I
right,
think
correct.
guys would be like bagging it. But
And it's a very easy course to walk. The back nine gets a little bit hilly, but like if you it's an easy course to get like a 3rd degree sunburn too. Ask Nick about that one. But
Yeah. Yeah,
what I always try
forgot
to do
sunscreen.
when we go, I want to say the last year that we went, I want to say we left on a Tuesday.
yeah, because
And
Yeah, 'cause we were there
and-
Wednesday
Right. So we
for
left
the
on a
Pro-Am.
Tuesday, went down, played in Queensbury, and then got there for the Pro-Am on Wednesday.
yeah, that was a lot of fun.
And the Pro-Am's cool because like the things I remember about the Pro-Am are like, the sports players, the sportscasters. I don't know so much on like the movie side of things. There's not really a whole lot of political figureheads that are involved, but like George Lopez was one that was there.
George Lopez, Chris Berman, I think.
Chris Berman was hilarious.
Ray Allen was there.
and then like
Tim Wakefield.
and there's another one I'm forgetting. But anyway, you get up and close with the PGA professional and then the other professionals from different walks of life, excuse me, and it's a cool event. And then once once Thursday starts, it's all business. And the other thing that was cool I thought about the Pro-Am, you see, of course, like, the tour player plays with them, but after the tour player hits their putt, they'll go to different spots on the green, put a tee down, and they'll just hit a few putts while the other 2 or 3 players that are with their group are still finishing out the hole. So I think it's really cool to see what the players are doing to practice while they're out there in a practice round that is, part of a Pro-Am. So you see all kinds of different things if you can get there before competition, how players are practicing, approaching, different shots, things like that. But it's an easy course to walk. I mean, I think both days I walk, on Thursday, I usually try to walk 36 holes. I'll pick a group in the morning. I'll find a golfer that I like. Walk the morning 18, and then in the afternoon I'll go back to the 1st or 10th tee wherever they tee off, and I'll walk another 18. And you're really not. I mean, you're tired at the end of the day because you've walked, 2 18s, but I think it's very fan friendly. I think it's easy to navigate, and it's pretty easy to get in and out too. And tickets are easy to get.
Yeah. Everything about it is really easy, really accessible, and they have stuff, for young kids. I'm not obviously
Well
infants,
priced.
but like well priced stuff, and they have a whole like family friendly like kids zone or fun. Well, I don't know what they
there's
call
a
it.
massive it's like there's a massive zone in the middle of it all. Like the golf course surrounds it
Between
That's
1
like
and
the fan
18.
zone,
Yeah, and
there's so much in there. There's a bunch of eateries. things for kids. There was a mini golf course when we were there.
There's
I think there was
chipping
like
challenge.
there was like inflatable like bounce houses. I'm pretty sure too.
You can sit on the driving range and get VJ Singh's autograph like Nick did.
Yeah.
Did you get his autograph?
I did. Yep.
Furyk
and
too?
And Furyk and Brian Harmon.
VJ Singh, quick story about him. So I've never been to a regular PGA Tour event, but I've been to, when I was a kid, I used to go to a bunch of majors. So a lot of like, basically 02 Bethpage to like 13 Marion. I went to probably like 7 or 8. One of them, VJ Singh was on it, and I tried to get his autograph, and he was a dick. Just didn't give me an autograph. Walked by a bunch of people.
Didn't he get into some trouble with the tour at one point, where he had to work his way back? I thought there was some cheating scandal or something with VJ Singh.
Like, even to this day, I don't like VJ Singh. Because me as like a
Rightfully so.
12-year-old getting turned. But it was like, you could hear him like under his breath basically saying like, fuck this. I'm not giving like autographs.
Right.
And you're like, dude, like, you got a bunch of kids. It wasn't like I was my age. Like, yeah, I would skip myself too at it was 20s and 30-year-olds. But like a kid getting an autograph, like a lot of guys are very good about it. And then you get these people.
Nick paid the price though that day. He paid for it.
What's up?
Well, you sat in that bleacher on the driving range and got all those autographs.
Me and Ryan Munson.
And
that
he was as red as my sweatshirt.
Yeah, they can't see that, but
Well,
it's a
Galen did
very
say it.
red
It's
sweatshirt.
a Boston. Is that a UMass? No, Boston.
BU.
Boston.
BU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's red. It's red. It's red. Red as red can
Super red.
be.
Yeah.
Lobster red.
So he was cooked like a lobster that day.
So
Yeah.
but the driving range I think is one of the best spots if you go to a PJ Tour event and just sit there and watch him hit on the driving range.
Oh, I went to the
just
U.S.
hours.
Open when it was at Oakmont in 2016, and I sat there for 4 hours and watched them on the range. Like I remember one of the first guys that came to the range was Scotty Scheffler when he was an amateur, like playing for Texas still. And then I remember like Furyk coming up, or no, Furyk wasn't there. I'm sorry. A lot of big names. I didn't get to see Ricky though. Didn't get to see Ricky. I saw DJ at Oakmont.
Slick
saw,
Rick.
like,
My
Sergio.
first ever encounter with Ricky Fowler. First hole, Bethpage, 2009 U.S. Open. Have you guys, Bethpage layout?
Yeah.
First hole's
Yep.
dogleg right.
Yep.
Pulls his drive left. He's the first group out, 7 a.m. on a Thursday morning. And the best thing is, as you guys know, you get there early, like for the first group. It's like
there's
so
nobody.
calm.
Oh,
it's
it's
quiet.
great.
It's the best. We're sitting there. He pulls it, hooks it left on the first or pulls or whatever. So I'm standing basically me to like maybe my desk. And it's me, my dad, and like one or two other people. And Ricky Fowler's like in the heavy, kind of heavy rough, but in the rough, hitting back at the green. But he's like basically like me to the table away. And you're just standing there with nobody around us. Because at the time he was like the number one amateur. And I knew him. He had his OSU bag and like, it was like definitely like the stand bag, like the college stand bag at the time. He didn't have the tour bag, and he ended up just hitting this like nice little shot up there, and like I think just front of the green. But it was kind of cool. That was Ricky of 2009.
it can get very much like that, I think, at the Travelers, especially if you get there
sure.
early, if the group tees off. There are a lot of, near the rope shots that, you can see, and it's really cool to experience that up close. I mean, the first time that I went, I know you guys have gone, I had gone a couple of years, prior to me when you were going with Rusty from PHS, but just, to be able to be up close and like hear the sound it makes constantly off the club.
It's different.
It's not, I mean, sometimes like you play up here and if you hear it 5 times around, you're excited, but like that pure stroke and sound every time off the club for those guys. And I mean, you're up close, and the thing I like the most is I like to hear that conversation with the caddy. What are they thinking? When we get up to the ball, we obviously go through our routine and what we're thinking, we calculate to ourselves mentally, but the amount of work that goes on pre-shot for those PGA Tour golfers, and to just listen to the different things they talk about, things that we don't think twice, about on Bluff Point or North Country or wherever we're playing. They know where they're going to miss if they do miss, so long as they don't, shank. But they've mapped everything out. And to me, that whole part of it is a part that I don't think golfers appreciate enough. Just like, every sport has its own, or every sport should have its own appreciation. People don't appreciate how much work. People just think it's get up and hit. Those that aren't in the golf world. There's so much appreciation that I now have after being up close and seeing that whole process. It's mind blowing.
Yeah, I mean, those guys are some of those guys. I mean, Patrick Cantlay, I just saw a breakdown earlier. Obviously, he won the Tour Championship, but each shot this season for him, each shot was worth over $4,000. So when Rob's talking about that, you know, it might be like meticulous and annoying for people for non-golf fans seeing that and not appreciating it, like he said. But it comes down to it. That shot could be worth $3,000, $4,000 when it comes to the end of the season.
It was like down
for
the
those
weekend
guys.
was with Justin Thomas and Kevin Na. They were playing basically for $1 million. It was just two of them because nobody was going to touch them. They couldn't
Right.
catch the leaders, so like they just kept going back and forth. And I think Kevin Na ended up getting it.
I think he was third.
Yeah, but like you're thinking like, yeah, you guys have 9 holes for $1 million because
Right.
if you beat him, it's like the equivalent of winning a championship.
Yeah.
At least the last week.
And I think that's why I don't mind slower play on the golf course for that reason. The amount, obviously if you're playing with, your buddies at Bluff Point, and you're playing for $10, then, you probably don't need, to be taking that much time. But
Right.
like, there are people that get on DeChambeau, for example. Koepka's one of them. I don't mind that a player at that level is taking that amount of time because of what's at stake.
Yeah.
If that's not at stake, if they're just out there playing their Tuesday practice round, then yeah, I mean, that's probably a little bit more ridiculous. But when the money is on the line and they need to make the shot for the money, take your time and figure it out, right? It happens in bowling. It happens in baseball. A batter will call time. A pitcher will call time. In football, you'll use your timeout in a crucial situation, so I don't think that that's a big deal.
We've had this conversation before too. Like usually the group I play with, or if I play with guys in the morning, I'm talking the whole time because like I'm just like out playing. But there's days where if I go out and I'm playing by myself, because I've done that before, I typically shoot better by myself, not
Right.
because I'm cheating, but seriously because I'm just like thinking about my shots more because
Yep.
I have nobody to talk to. So it's like, okay, what do I want to play here? Like take my time. I can line up putts. I can take a little extra time. I don't feel like I'm being rushed because I got to
Yeah.
get off the green before somebody. And usually in those holes, I end up just making some better decisions or a little more focus on a shot versus just like talking, getting up and hitting a ball and be like, screw it. And then like go up, wait for the other guys to hit, and hit your shot. So there's definitely a mental aspect that you can like, I think all of us could lower our handicap by multiple strokes if we just were like, okay, just chill and play. That's why I think in the tournament, people would actually should be playing a little bit better than their
Sure.
handicap because they're gonna be a little more focused than what they normally are. Because like, okay, I gotta make this putt. Okay, let me just like line it up and hit it. So
It's one of the things that makes the tournament so cool.
You find that in the Masters North too, though? I mean, you've played in it too.
I think, yeah, when there's more, you're definitely more in it. When there's like,
I mean,
even in Tupper, just in Tupper when I was up there in
Right.
August, like you're more in it for sure when there's that much.
I don't look at
even being
putts-
just a tournament.
I don't look at putts from two sides at Bluff Point very often. When we're playing in the Masters North, I'm looking at the putt from 4 sides.
Well, yeah, not only the competition and like the money and like the fact that it's a bigger tournament, but we also don't play there as much either, up at Malone or like other courses that host bigger tournaments versus just casual rounds at Bluff. I mean, I've played Bluff hundreds of times.
Same.
And I might misread a putt here or there, but like, I generally know
yeah.
the noted
You know the lay of the land.
yardages, where it's going, like where the ball's
That's the
going to
worst.
break. And
When you hit a putt and it breaks and, you say to yourself, I hit that putt 2 days ago. It did the same thing, but I didn't go back to that. You know what I mean? That's when you wish you could keep your own little book with notes, right?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
you don't. It's just, you don't keep those same mental notes. And I think that's what, that's like what you talk about. If you took your time and you were able to spend the same amount, of course, yeah, everybody would lower their handicap.
well, that or again, you look at the practice. Like you can go out and warm up before a round, practice, like go putt, go hit a couple like wedge shots, get loose a little bit, and then even play like a practice round where you actually kind of like focusing on the greens where I'm gonna hit my shots. I mean, obviously you get that playing, but like very rarely do we actually go out, warm up, putt, chip, hit, and like you're rushing
The whole
the first
cycle,
tee.
yeah.
You're just like, okay, I'm teeing off at 7. Let me get there at 6:50, put my shoes on, run to the first tee, and like do a couple like rotations, and then just hit the ball. Like that's what we all do. And it's by the time you actually start feeling like you're loose and swinging, it's usually about you're probably 5-6 holes in before you start to feel comfortable like swinging. But all right, last question before last round, Rob. Last 2 questions. If you had to play, I think you told me this. If you had to play with 3 PGA golfers, who would they be? And then what's your prediction for the 4 of the kids?
Well, we're obviously going to win Galen's team. I don't know about how much, but
But so answer the golf question and then pick a score, roughly a score, or if you think it's gonna be close, run away, or if you think it's gonna be a few strokes or a few wins or whatever.
Okay, so the golfers, can they be like? Do they have to be active like on the tour or?
Let's,
Like, are you saying?
no?
like anybody?
Are you saying can they be dead?
Well,
Because you can't play with them.
well,
if that's
no,
the case.
but like injured.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, then Tiger.
Okay.
Tiger being 1. You said 3,
You
right?
pick 3. Yeah.
Tiger.
Yeah, Tiger counts. He's got his card. Yeah, he's good.
Tiger.
You got the lifetime exemption times 4.
Yeah.
He's all right.
Yeah, he's good.
Probably. I want to say Bryson just because of how far he hits the ball and you know everything that he goes through, and I'd like to see that up close. So probably Bryson, Tiger, Bryson, and I don't know. Third one would be pretty hard for me. Maybe Morikawa because of how accurate he is with his irons. I think that'd be a show to watch.
All right. And what do you think score match? Maybe not even points, but like
It'll be close, but I think we're gonna win.
you think by like could be down to the last match or 2, or do you think it's going to be like kind of close but still going to be kind of comfortable?
I'm predicting last match or 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
3 golfers. Tiger for sure. Ricky Fowler for sure. Ricky's always been my guy, even though he played terrible. I mean, I've been a fan of his for a while. So those 2, and then the third one, I'd have to think about. Honestly, that's honestly tough. Like you think you'd have an answer like that nailed down, but no. I mean, there's so many that I really really enjoy watching. Man, if I had to pick though, I'd probably say DJ, and I'd say DJ for 2 reasons. Number 1, Ed Davis has he's played a couple holes with DJ. He told me about it, and he told me about the interaction. DJ seems like the kind of person, just based on that and based on how he acts in interviews, how he carries himself. He seems like the kind of person I could be around, like nice little vibe. And I also hits the ball a mile too. I'd love to see that. I mean, I'd love to see I watched it at Oakmont and I saw it from afar. But being able to see it up close and personal and just kind of get just seeing the wrist bend and just him ripping it down and carrying a driver 350, I think that'd be a sight to see. So I'd have to go with those 3. Tiger, Ricky, and DJ, I'd say.
And match.
I think it's going to be close to the singles. But I think in the singles, Team Craig, Team Lee, I think you're going to crumble. So
Good.
I think we're going to run away in the singles.
Yikes.
All right.
So golfer wise, Dustin Johnson's atop the list.
If you didn't figure that out already by
Top
now.
3 spots.
Right, yeah.
He's wearing a TaylorMade hat right now.
Dustin's putter and Dustin's jacket.
Right. I actually have not been at a tournament that Dustin Johnson has played in. He won the Travelers last year.
The first
and
year we didn't
no
go in a
fans
while.
were allowed.
Yeah.
So that was pretty disappointing. And this year I wanted to go, but graduation, high school graduate. My cousin graduated this year, so I gave him some flack for that. So Dustin Johnson, Ian Poulter. I'm gonna go on the LPGA side with this one.
All right.
If that's okay.
Oh, I know. I have an idea of where you're going with this
Nelly
one.
Korda.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say that.
Nelly Korda
Yeah.
is just in like a league of her
Yeah.
own right now. You know, I was a big fan of Lexi Thompson in the LPGA, but like it's all Nelly Korda right now, and
She's
she
great.
is
She's
she's
good.
just
Her swing's
she's on
so
top.
good too.
Yeah.
It's just butter.
So I would go with those 3, but if I had to go with a PGA Tour player, I'd probably go with Sergio Garcia as the 3rd. As far as the match goes, really, it's all about who plays better than their handicap, right? If everyone's handicap is accurate, whoever plays better than their handicap that day. I like my chances going in with my matches. I'll do what I can to get points for our team. Not really knowing going in, how any of our teammates are going to play. You always have to root for yourself and hope that we do well. But at the end of the day, hopefully the real winner, are the local charities. So.
That's the most political.
What a great
that's
political
my
answer.
answer I've ever seen. I mean, that's what we're playing for. Yes, for sure. Okay, so that's good. Dream foursome. From a golf standpoint, like I guess you could say like Phil Tagger and maybe like Rory or something, or / this is AK. Was my boy back in the day, Anthony Kim. Do you remember him at all?
Oh yeah.
He was supposed to be really good.
Yeah, but if I had, no, he was really good. He was really good. He was still one of my guys. But if I had to go right now, I was telling you the other day, Harry Higgs, Kevin Kisner, and maybe maybe Phil Mickelson, just because it'd be a chirp fest.
Yeah.
And I'd be
No
down to see it.
question.
So I'm not even
Yeah,
going by
that-
the golf. I'm just going for the pure,
Yeah.
just
The
like what would be
entertainment
funny.
aspect of that would be
Entertainment.
absurd.
And I would even probably,
absurd.
I love Phil. I would maybe switch Phil out for Joel Damon purely because it would just be trash talking beers the whole time. It'd be fun.
Yeah, Joel's funny too.
So that would be the
Like
crowd. Who's winning? Us. I think it's gonna be naturally us. No, what I think it's last year we went to the singles tied. I think we're gonna go into the singles with about a two-stroke advantage, where I think we're gonna pick up one. I think we're gonna pick up. Let me see, 5 and 3. I think it's gonna wait. Am I saying that right? We have 6 matches. I think we're gonna go 3 and 3 on one, and then probably 4 and 2 on the other. That makes sense. Yeah, 3 and 3, 4 and 2. I think we're gonna have a 2-stroke advantage going to the finals. I think we're gonna end up winning it. My guess is by 4. We'll be up 2 going in. We'll pick up 2 more in the
Precise.
in the singles.
Precise. It's a good number to
So
shoot
it'd be
for.
16 match end 16-8.
Heard it here first.
Could be 12-12, 16-8.
I second that.
That's a review.
I hope
No.
you lose 24-0.
Well, we never get that far.
You just went from the most political answer possible to the least political.
Well, I
answer
just said I
possible.
hope.
I mean, technically, you can go in if you're the defending champ and you win all first 12 matches. You could go into the singles already winning.
Right.
Like you've already won it.
Mm-hmm.
If we're up 12 going into the singles, we have it at a possible. We could still lose it if we got swept in the
Will you
singles.
play out those other matches? Like if
Yeah.
it's decided just to
We'll play it out.
see what the final number is?
Yeah. We always end up playing it out. Same
Yeah.
thing they do in the Ryder Cup. They
Right.
play it out. So, no, everybody's playing the current matches. So, all right, boys. We're going to wrap it up there. Appreciate you guys coming on.
Yeah,
Looking
thank you for
forward to
having
it.
me.
We're,
Yeah,
a week
thanks.
from Saturday out.
Yep.
If you guys have not donated for the Kids Charity Golf Classic, reach out to anybody that's playing. Adirondack Young Professionals has a bunch of stuff on their Instagram and Facebook. Or if you know one of us personally, just reach out. We are accepting all donations. 100% of everything raised will go to a local children's charity by way of the United Way of the Adirondack region. So if you guys can help out, we appreciate it. You're going to you're going to see all 4 of us playing. 3 on the winning team, 1 unfortunately on the losing team, but that's all right. We still like them. He's still invited. So that's it. Episode 157 of the Galen Trombley Show. Thanks for listening to the Galen Trombley Show. If you want to reach me, you can go on Facebook at Galen Trombley, on Instagram at Galen Trombley, and on YouTube at Galen Trombley. The spelling, GaelanTrombley.